It is over. The system is online. This is the new era. Can you hear the alarm? It calls us home. Panic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome back. Good to see everyone. Thank you for being here. It's our second live for today. And I'm going to shut my camera off because I got my hair cut and I didn't straighten my hair. So I think it looks terrible today. There you go. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Great to see you again today. We had a live earlier that focused on Sebastian Rogers. And tonight we are going to speak on Nancy Guthrie, disappeared from Tucson, Arizona, Catalina Hills. Hello, Janet. And hello to everyone. Thank you for being here. Catalina Hills area. On February 1st, we have Michael Vaughn, who disappeared in July, I believe 27th of 2021 from Fruitland, Idaho. His monster, who is being charged with his kidnapping and started pretrial hearings today. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then Sebastian Rogers from Sumner County, Hendersonville, Tennessee, vanished on February 26th around 6 a.m. in the morning, supposedly, allegedly. And I say that because the last proof of life was February 25th. And quite frankly, I'm not sure what happened after that. Everyone, thank you all. Thank you, Jerry. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. We are going to get to it. We have a goal tonight. Just because I've been on twice today, I'm going to come on tomorrow. But tomorrow, if you want a little piece of an info reveal, I will give you some info reveal if we meet our goal. If not, I'll still come on and talk to you, but I'll keep my little piece of info that I was going to share with you. Thank you all for being here. I did rearrange my tutoring schedule for tomorrow so I could be with you some. I hope this finds you all well. We are going to begin with Nancy Guthrie today. Over a month ago, is it 31 days, 32 days today? What I want to share with you, if you noticed on our thumbnail, I said desert body searching, right? Well, oh, thank you, Show Poodles. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. It says thank you for all you do. Appreciate you so much. I am, just so you all know, I am tutoring and I am subbing again. And so you guys are important to me too. So I am coming on a little later because I want to spend time with you. And I'm sorry if it's a little later. Today I had time to do an earlier one too. And when I do, I certainly will with you all. Oh, from the Gulf Coast, Show Poodles. Very nice. Texas? Very nice. Well, everyone, we are at war. We also have a war going on right here, don't we? And that's for our missing children. Thank you again, Show Poodles. That is just so completely generous. Thank you. And we have a war going on here that we have been battling for missing children. And sadly, it often appears statistically that most of the children that we search for end up being a victim of family. Michael Vaughn is an exception of that right now. And Michael Vaughn is our exception. But usually it seems to be the family. So it's heartbreaking. We are going to talk first. Oh, let me hide this. About Nancy Guthrie. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Let me turn my phone off. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home in Catalina Hills. in the middle of the night. Her daughter, Savannah Guthrie, works on the Today Show, NBC, famous, and they are offering a $1 million reward. And we're going to go through all of this. Savannah revealed that her mother was taken out of bed in the night. Now, you imagine waking up to that masked man. The search has been going on for a month, very high profile. One thing I want to tell you, I'm from Arizona, as you know, so I have a few insights before I get to the desert searching. Few insights for y'all on Show Poodles. Thank you for your 12 months. I'm tired tonight too. 12 months of support. Says, I'm still here. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Show Poodles. A year of support. I appreciate you. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. And your generosity of your $20 donation. So I'm being from Arizona. I will tell you this. I have been in Nancy Guthries' neighborhood. I have been to a event in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, someone living in the neighborhood that I know. Also, I've been to Nogales, where is the closest border to Mexico from Catalina Hills. But what I want to tell you is, if you watched Brian Enton drive into Nogales and park at that place where you go over legally, well, in Nogales, there are many places where you can walk across back and forth without being detected. I was at one home and they showed me right to the right of their yard where people came in and out from Mexico. So the reason I don't think that would have happened with Nancy is she's pretty immobile. So they would be having to carry her across. She wouldn't be able to do the walking. So I don't think that happens. And also, if you remember, when we've studied Sebastian and Summer and many of the cases for kids, and when the ransom came in for Sebastian and they said he was in Mexico and we were talking about it, from Arizona, when you drive into Mexico, and I've shared this before, and I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but it's so important. When we go into Mexico from Arizona, we are not stopped. Usually like one every, oh my goodness, 3 dozen cars, maybe, if that, are stopped and asked for their passports. When you come back into the United States is when you are stopped at the checkpoints. And I have always said, this is crazy because anyone could be leaving the US, heading to Mexico, and have a kid they've kidnapped. And it's the strangest thing, but it's true. That's okay, Kiki. I emailed you today. So good to see you. And so that's something that always concerns me, is we can get right into Mexico. We don't need our passports. It's kind of hit and miss if they pull you over. You know, I haven't been pulled over going in. Let me put it that way. Then coming from Mexico into the US, you're pulled over. Okay. And you show your passports and your papers or whatever you have. So it's a very easy way to get a child out of the United States, to get a person out of the United States, which is very scary. Another thing I'd like to tell you is, in the desert in Arizona, we have the cartel. In the Phoenix area, they control a part of the desert. I will be honest with you, law enforcement is afraid. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm really not. I have spoken to law enforcement who does not like to go into the desert because the cartel is there. Now, over by Tucson, you have one of the largest cartels, strongest cartels in Arizona, called the Sinaloa. I want to pull up a picture for you real quick. Hold on. I used to have the best picture of them standing right at the desert. I used to have the best picture of them standing right in the desert. Okay. Let's see where they are, because it's really scary, you guys. I will get a picture for you next time. I just was going to pull one up if I had one. So, for instance, Daniel Robinson, he went missing in Buckeye, Arizona. And if you recall, Daniel's a geologist he moved to Arizona, Buckeye, to be a geologist. Young boy, in his early 20s, don't hold me to that. And wonderful father, flew out, moved to Arizona for quite a while to help search for his son. The problem was he could not get law enforcement to help him. His son went missing in the desert. He was out there doing his job on a morning, checking what he checked. I saw it. His father showed me exactly where he was, checking that, doing his job. And he asked the man who met him there, he wasn't his normal self. He asked the man who met him there, I'm going to go for a while. Told him I'm going to take off for a while. I'm going to go take a nap. But he went the wrong direction when he left. He didn't leave drive out the direction that you would go to get out of that area. And I have been exactly in the location he was. His father showed me where they found his sock, where he was last seen, all of that. And I went out there to search as well for Daniel. The reason he couldn't, and he had volunteers, that's what David Robinson had to help him, was volunteers, because you could not get Buckeye police out in that desert. We could not get Buckeye police out in that desert. So one time I was out there searching, and they had assured him they were going to have a presence there. They were going to bring ATVs. They were going to do it all. And and he was very excited about it. They sent 2 agents and I think 1 ATV. Very disappointing, but the cartel kind of runs the desert. And it's really scary because it's our desert. Thousands of bodies are found there all the time. I call it the devil's playground. So it's a scary place. So I will commend the Pima sheriffs for going into the desert to do this body search. I will commend them, because a lot of them, like in Maricopa County, they won't go. They won't do it. So Pima County sheriffs were given some coordinates and told to go to a neighboring county and search for a body. Really, what they were searching for was Nancy's pacemaker. They used the signal sniffer again, which is which is right here. It's attached to the underneath of the helicopter, and what it does is it sends a signal, like a Bluetooth signal, and a pacemaker. It could pick up her pacemaker. Her pacemaker has its very own address. Its very own address. And even if Nancy was no longer with us, God forbid, her pacemaker will still work for years. So they were in a neighboring county. I do not know if it was Maricopa. I do not know. That makes sense to me, but I'm not sure. And they were looking for her pacemaker with coordinates. Now, what does that tell us? If they have coordinates in the desert to do a body search and take the signal sniffer, they were probably got a tip, right? They probably had a tip that led them there. Excuse me, I'm really thirsty tonight. I'm drinking my diet pop while I talk to you. So they used coordinates in a neighboring county, so they must have had a tip. The rest of the status right now for Nancy Grace is they are waiting on the mixed DNA, see if they can get anything out of it. That was found in the home. They are looking, now this was interesting. They are looking at hundreds of thousands of cars, Nano said. Now, where and how would they be looking at hundreds and thousands of cars? Well, I was thinking, forgive my spelling error here, looking at hundreds. I was thinking about traffic lights, license plate readers, and neighbors' CCTV, right? That's what I was thinking. Do you guys have any other ideas? Put it in the comments of where they would be getting these hundreds of thousands of cars, but they're scouring for the car involved in the crime of taking Miss Nancy Guthrie. The Guthries, her daughter is very high profile. Savannah has another sister, as many of you know, Annie, and has a brother, Cameron. We are going to go over Annie's latest message, watch them go to the memorial, and I want to go over her other messages so we can see a progression. There's a couple of things I want to point out to you. Now, I do know that Annie's car is still in custody, which means, well, it means it's of evidentiary value, most likely. Okay. They wouldn't be keeping it this long. However, I wonder if it was because Nancy, that's the last place Nancy was known to be. I don't know. Please hit that thumbs up. Sorry it's so late, y'all. We are going to go to, but they have the car still, and I think that's really important for us to think about. They have that car, and they still have that car. Now, whether they're keeping it, they have Annie Guthrie's car. They have one car. Annie and Tommaso have one car that they share. That car is still in custody. That could be because that was the last place she was before she got home the night before, right? But I find it odd, but I'm not going to pummel on that case right on that point. But they have the car in custody. And sometimes, usually when they have it in custody, it's because it has something to do. They found something in it that might contribute to evidence in trial once they get there to point to a crime. Do we know that's it? I don't want to say that because I don't want to start a rumor. The other reason they might be able to have it is, no, Dan, they have one car. Annie and Tommaso have one vehicle, and their vehicle was taken. They might have one right now that they're using, but they had one vehicle and law enforcement has it. Now they may be rented a car, got one from someone else, but their car is in custody. And it could very well be just because that was the vehicle that took Nancy home. We don't know. So I don't want to jump to conclusions. There's a lot of things that, we're going to look at, we think about, but I would like us to stay on the fact of, let's first go through the family messages. Savannah, they visited the memorial outside the home. Oh, and another thing, the Range Rover was released. That was not Annie and Tommaso's. That was Luke's, who was pulled over at the Culvers. And that was released back to him. Interesting, right, Dan? The Range Rover that they held the tarp up and all of that to hide it from us, that has been released back to Luke. However, Annie and Tommaso's car has not been released back. So they did not find anything in the desert that we were told that we know of. They did not get a signal from her pacemaker, but they must have had a tip that led them to a neighboring county. Didn't they clear Annie and hubby? Nanos has cleared Annie and hubby. Yes. So that's why it's so confusing. If Nanos has cleared them, why did they keep the vehicle? That's their vehicle. So there you go. I mean, that's just kind of really, it's perplexing, isn't it? It's perplexing. Thank you, Minnie. Minnie's letting you all know we do have a goal tonight. If we want another live tomorrow, I will do a info reveal if we meet our goal. And I'm not saying that just because I want to come in here every night with a goal, but I rearranged some of my tutoring tomorrow to come in here because I want to be with you guys too. So thus the goal. You don't have a goal in here every night you come in. I would not do that to my friends here. So let's get to it. We are also going to be talking about Michael Vaughn. The first day of the pre-trial hearing was today. The first day of the pretrial hearing was today, and yesterday was the status conference. They are not having it live streamed, just so you know. If you recall, I was in Fruitland, Idaho, out there searching for Michael at the 1-year mark. I went directly from Boise Airport to right next door to where the Wondrous live. It freaked me out when I saw them excavating the yard next door. We had been on Google Earth looking and searching, for almost a year before I went out there. And I had looked up all the RSOs, and we saw that on Google Earth, the RSOs lived very close. 2 RSOs who are married lived very close to Michael. I asked Brandy, she came into my chat. I kept mentioning it to her, and she said they've been cleared. But I think that she was supposed to say that because she never told us that she got a letter from Wondrub, apologizing during that time and all of this. So we didn't know a lot of stuff. But I went right to that house because we saw his steps down and the RV doors open, not accusing, but it was fishy to us. And little did we know, 4 months later, they would be digging in the yard next door, like 20 feet from where we were standing. It freaked me out. Hello, Nicey Marie. Welcome in. No, I do. Dan, I believe that he cleared the family. That's what he said out loud. And shame on you people who are journalists. Honor your profession and stop it. They are the victims. That's what Nano said. Now, if he took it back, I did not hear that, Dan. Okay. I did not. So we are going to go through a couple, but thank you. Try and let me tell me where I can see that, if you don't mind. We have it. I'm trying to find all of their messages because I had it before. So hold on 1 second. Sorry, y'all. I don't have everything ready. I thought I did. Sorry about that. I had one place where I had them all set down, and now I don't see where it is. I'm a little tired tonight, and I'm sure you all are too. But we want to get to this. Okay, let's see. Here's one, right? Well, I didn't want that one. Sorry, y'all. I have her had her Instagram up, and for some reason, let me put it in. You're so patient. Thank you. Okay, here we go. First one we are going to watch is the family coming. Very Emmy's house is 10 minutes away. The flowers are beautiful. Very sad. Very, very sad. Beautiful neighborhood. And if we're going to address that, I don't know where Cameron is. Cameron is the brother. That's Tommaso, the brother-in-law. I want to watch that one more time. That's Tommaso, the brother-in-law. I want to watch that one more time. This is the first appearance Savannah had out in public. Other than the videos we've seen, this is her first appearance out in public. Not they do have a brother, Cameron. Know me? I know. Okay. Yes. Oops, sorry. He is wearing a pinky ring. Okay. I noticed that as well. Know me. Found it very interesting. Okay, let's go on. I want to share with you. Now let's compare some of, why am I not getting the ones that I had them all listed. Here we go. There they are. Okay. I want the one with the flowers. Where's the flowers one? Oh my goodness. I don't know what is happening where all my stuff is, but I apologize. And then we'll listen to some of the other ones, but I want to see, it's when they're younger, that one is the one I want to show you. Where in the world? Okay, so I just kind of want to bring something up to you where they're at the flowers. Oh my goodness, why can't I find it? I must have loaded it somewhere else. Oh my goodness. I don't know where it is, you all. Did they take down the flowers one? There it is. Okay. I want you to watch this very closely. I'm going to take this down for a second. I find it's so dark. I find it interesting. Let me lighten this up for you guys. Oop. There. Let me play it again. I find it very interesting that Cameron isn't there. It's to honor their mother, and it's the two girls. And I want you to see if you catch what goes on in this. Did you catch it? Did you see it? Hi, Rusty Pipes. Hi, everyone. Did you guys see it? Let's try it again. What do you think she means by this video in your eyes? Nicey Marie says his left leg walking is uneven. We're going to have to look at that. Thank you. You know what I noticed? I noticed Cameron's not there, the brother. I noticed this is just about Annie and Savannah with their mother. And I also notice they have a brother, Janet. His name is Cameron. And I also noticed that there is Annie picking flowers. Annie picked the flowers. Watch. There they are. No Cameron, just the girls. This is Annie posted this, and there we go. picking flowers. I feel that is very significant to me. I think it's significant. I really do. I really, really do.
I'm coming on to say it is. Hi there. I'm coming on to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed.
And we learned she was taken from her bed. Bless her heart.
We know that millions of you have been praying. So many people have been praying of every faith and no faith at all, praying for her return. And we feel those prayers. Please keep praying without ceasing. We still believe. We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope.
Embers.
We need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. So please, if you hear this message, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign. So please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home so that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived. Please be the light in the dark. Thank you.
That is a family that is completely suffering. Savannah's completely suffering. And yes, something about the flower ones, because it's just important because we have flower picking going on from the masked man. But I want to read to you a couple of things. See, this is my problem. I keep going to the wrong ones. That was Facebook. Why am I not on Insta? Okay. Okay, let's see here. Savannah's Instagram. I am off of it tonight, huh? Sorry, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Here is her message. We feel, where is it cut off when I try to go? Here it is. Her message after going to the memorial. We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country. Please don't stop praying and hoping with us. Bring her home. So that's the message. Look at the beautiful flowers, the beautiful love. But there's just a couple of things. I think that Savannah's posts are messages. And the FBI was writing a lot of them. This is probably just from Savannah today, from her heart. And the flower picking one was still at the time when the FBI was helping with the messages. I find it interesting. I'm not accusing anyone. I am just saying it is interesting because there's also in another post she makes she mentions Annie again, but not Cameron, the brother. So I find it very interesting. There's messages there. Hi, welcome back. Be kind. There's messages in all of these. By the way, we are going to be talking about Nancy, Michael, and Sebastian. Over $1 million reward. No one has come forward. Hey, Dan, did you get that link? Dan, did you get that link for where you saw something occurring, you thought? It's okay because it's a full moon. I'm telling you, I'm stumbling over my words tonight. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you guys are patient tonight. Thank you, Desiree. And then you all know that there is. Are most of you following this case? Are most of you following this case? I'd love to know. Okay. Go back to our thing real quick. Most of you are following it? Okay. Trying to share my screen. Okay. I have a bunch of stuff that I want to share with you. So they were searching in the desert for Nancy. I'm going to enlarge this, escape. I'm going to enlarge this, and I'm going to look at some things with you from Kash Patel. Come on. Okay. Darn it. Okay. There's some things I want to talk about this. Look at the masked man. Now we have heard a lot of, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm just so silly today. I'm just going to share it right from his ex. That'll be easier for us. Okay. So this is Kash Patel's ex. Oh, yes. BE, Janet, he's doing a good job. He's been there the whole time. Welcome in, everyone who's coming in later. This is the masked man. You know that. I know that. We've now found out that they were there. The masked man was there on 2 separate days. That is why we saw one image without the backpack. Hi, Donna, B61. That's why we saw, hi, Dan, thank you. I'm so glad I didn't lose you. I thought you got off of here because it's later. Thank you, Dan, for sending that to me. There's a couple of things I want you to notice. Let's talk about it. First of all, everyone keeps saying, I've heard a lot of people say, and I'm not talking about race other than this person's identity. People are saying this is a white guy. I'm pretty sure he's Hispanic. I'm pretty sure they take care of their eyebrows like that. They trim their mustaches small. They wear the jewelry on their fingers. Not that other people don't do this, but he's in Tucson. He's near the border. The area of Tucson and Pima County is highly Hispanic. Arizona is highly Hispanic. And so I'm hearing people say, well, he's white and he, trims his eyebrows. I'm not under that theory. I'm under the theory that he is Hispanic because of some of the traits he has of his grooming traits, the pinky ring. I'm not saying other races don't wear the pinky ring, but I'm saying a lot of the Hispanics wear the rings. Okay. Right there is what I want to say first. The next thing I want to say is go back to the flower video. Let's go back to the flower video. I think it's in relation to this person's picking flowers, and there were flowers being picked in that other video. That's where I go with it, where I'm thinking it. Okay. I don't know if anyone in the family suspects each other, right? It would seem not. And the word is seem. Okay, the word is seem. It would seem not, okay? But we don't know. Because in Savannah's messages, she references her sister. There, as my sister says, we're blowing on the embers of hope. Okay? She doesn't mention Cameron. She has a video with her and Annie, with their mother. Annie picks flowers. Oh, Diana's saying they found I was that recently, Diana, because I know a backpack was found by volunteers last week, but they have ruled that one out. Is this a new one? Hi, Joanne. Someone can be cleared, but still a suspect. Thank you, Jerry. That's where I'm heading. You guys, sheriffs can't clear anyone. Sheriffs don't clear anyone. The prosecutor does. The DAs do. So if he's clearing people and he's saying people are cleared, that is not a 100 until it was found yesterday or this morning, another backpack. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. Will you send me a link to my email, crimetimebuzz@gmail.com? Thank you. So I just wanted to point that out. There's another thing I want to point out with all of you. Have you noticed that? Okay, so we've got a little ring here. We've seen a ring on one of the family members. Not accusing anyone, making observations. Making observations. Another thing I've noticed that I think I'm going to put a short video out on tomorrow because I'm not sure I've heard anyone mention this. I'm not sure. Hi, Wanda Dupree. Long time no see. So good to have you in. Hello to everyone in the house. I'm not sure I've heard anyone mention this. But when you're looking at the masked man, do you notice, and let me go back into here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Look at the position of his right hand. He's left-handed. Look at the position. Same position here. It's bent here. Let's keep going. I want to show you all something. Oh, goodness. Here we are again. I would like you to see something. Look at his hand. It's not extended like this one. This one, it's not either. What about in this video that I just, is that the one I bent? Does this person have a lame, okay, even, let's see what he's doing here. Watch when he goes to these bushes. See how his hand's not extended like a hand? Look at his right hand. He uses the left. Okay, look at his right one. Does he have a lame hand? Well, Queen, we're going to look at that again. Absolutely. You know, I took screenshots of the body from back behind. Of course I had to. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. Did I mess it up? He is left-handed and his right hand does not straighten out completely. It looks like it might be. Thank you, Diana. And handsome man, thank you. Arthritis of the hand. Now, I don't know if anyone else has brought that up. Have you guys heard that? Give me a 1 if you've heard that brought up before and a 0 if you have not. A 1 if you heard people talking that brought up. Lame hand, yes. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard someone talk about that because I will put out a video and a 0 if you have not. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm going to come out with a video on that in the morning. It's just weird to me. Very weird. Now look, he goes over there, uses the wait, let me go back to that. Let me go back to it. I want to watch it again. My dog's being dramatic again. Okay, we're going to take it right here. And that's not even the full video because he's coming in. He's already in there. He puts his head down and everything. Okay, there's the bent hand. Which hand did he try and use? He's bending down. Now watch. Uses the left hand, not the right hand at first. He picks with the left. Look at the position of the right hand. It's bent. He's left-handed, grabs with the left. He's holding with the right, but he doesn't do the grabbing. And he doesn't straighten that palm out. I want to see the one where he comes walking in. I want to see the one where he comes walking in. Hold on, let me go back to Cash's. Sorry, y'all. I want to go back to Cash's thing because I want to see the one where he comes through this one. This is the one I want us to watch now. Look at his hand again. Look at the hand. That one's bent. This one is not. You can see his palm here, not here. I think he has a lame or arthritic hand that he cannot use very well, right? And then I have another question before we move on to Michael Vaughn. I have another question. So I think there's a lame hand. He seems to favor one of his shoulders. Thank you. Great comment, Lisa. So I'm going to submit that. Hey, Purple Sneakers. Hey, everyone. I'm going to submit that. And I'm going to do a short video on it. Look how he puts his head down, too. Okay, this is another thing that bothers me. Maybe a stroke. Yeah. Good thinking. But this is something that bothers me. He cased the house before. Why is he putting his head down and approaching a camera? He knew that camera was there, right? He cased the house. We have him on film. So this is very odd to me. You would think. That's just really strange to me. And the way he looks into the camera. Is he bending because of the weight of the backpack? It's so weird, right? Why are you putting your head down when you know you're walking right into a camera? You know you're walking right into a camera. Hi, Bridget. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. Please don't mention other creators in the chat, please. I don't want anyone to say anything rude. Sometimes people don't like who you like. Yeah, why is he putting his head down? It's just odd. And if you look at his, just keep an eye on that hand. Minnie says, are we sure he's not holding something small in that other hand? Well, he picked with his right hand. You're okay, Wanda. Please, you're okay. No apology, hon. He picked with his left hand and then put it in his right hand. So something would have fallen out if he was holding something. He's groomed like Hispanics often groom themselves. We do have a goal tonight. If you want a little piece of information that I can reveal to you tomorrow, I'll reveal you a piece of information. I'm only setting a goal for tonight because I moved away some tutoring so I could be with you guys tomorrow night. Okay, what did Mimi say here? Minnie said, is not holding. He knew the camera was there. He didn't want authorities or Nancy seeing his face, so she probably knew him. Good point. But he looks right into that camera. To me, it was almost like he wanted, I don't know. It's weird. But he's got the ring on. He's got that weird holster in front. That's another thing. If you see the way they will, I don't know how to say it. Handsome says he's holding a torch in the other hand folded. Interesting. Gold. Diana says maybe it was that Luke guy. They questioned him and suddenly he was freshly shaven. I saw that. It's amazing, isn't it? Oh, Minnie says maybe he was holding a gypsy needle with a tranquilizer. And Joni says, Jay, have you ever looked at Diablo Canyon online? There are 2 very large cement wells that are open. Saw it in a video. That's not far from the border. Oh, Scary. Joni, I have not. I will now though. But yeah, Cece says, in my opinion, this was for hire. Yeah, it seems to me like it was. Queen says, Jay, he even steps up on his left foot. Let me see. Yeah. He has a little bit of a gait, doesn't he, y'all? Show Poodle says, come on, guys. Otherwise, I will try to get Jay to whisper to me. Takes a lot of time to prepare for this for us. Yeah, the way he's wearing the gun is also very, I don't know how to put it without sounding like a jerk. Okay. Let me explain it this way. If someone in Arizona, you have open carry. Okay. Most people would not carry it that way. However, yes, I know the videos got it. However, let's say you have someone who in Arizona, usually where their carry is in the back, in their jeans, or on their hip. This guy has it slung in front of his crotch. And again, I'm going to say that could be because of his culture. And that is a ring bite thing in his mouth, which I find very interesting. That he took. Thank you, Nicey. Thank you so much for the super sticker. That is so generous, and I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. And that's a great super sticker. Thank you so much. Nicey, you rock. So there's just some things in there that don't make sense. There's some things in there that I have been wondering about, being from Arizona. Okay, we're going to look at this too. This is important. A lot of people thought that this guy was a woman. And I do know when Nancy Grace first, thank you again, Nicey. Thank you so much, Show Poodles. I do know when Nancy Grace first looked at it, she thought it was very feminine in the eyes and the eyebrows, and a white person. I think that hand is compromised too. Yes, I do. Oh, so he places the pew-pew there for the other hand. Good thinking. Smart. You guys are the smartest community. Okay. This is interesting. Look at those groomed eyebrows. If you took away his mustache, you might think that's a woman. But he has a mustache. It is a man. I believe it is a Hispanic man because they do groom their eyebrows like that. Italians do as well sometimes. And he has a thin, well-groomed mustache. Look at the shape of the eyes. Okay, Deanna, thank you. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. It could be a fake mustache. Absolutely. He's got a ring on. But I do want to show you Cash Patel did something. And I know we're running late, and I know I need to get us to Monkey and then Sebastian. But this is what I wanted to show you. Have you guys seen this? The person who put this up. Oh, you're going to show me something, Dan? Thank you. Are you going to email it to me? Thank you. Cinderella says it looks like the mustache was drawn on. Now, I don't know where this came from, other than it's on Cash Patel reposted it. And it says, hopefully this can help catch the guy. Well, and then someone said, this is extremely unhelpful because we don't know the ethnicity of the person. Don't do this. Okay. My point was, where's the mustache? Right? We don't know that these are the colors. We don't know that there are blue eyes. Right? There's that hand again. Look at it. But I just wanted to show you this in color, and it's on his page. And, you know, people are saying, well, the mustache is going to make this so easy. How? And what is this? Some people said this is a star, right? Up on the jacket. Anyway, why isn't the media asking who he is? Same build, same eyebrows, reflectors on shoes. This is a guy a neighbor caught creeping around a few miles from Nancy's house in the weeks leading up, because they said that it probably wasn't, they didn't think it was him. Okay. So we have no idea where Nancy Guthrie is. But what I do pray is that someone will come forward. I really do. I really, really do. I hope someone comes forward. I'm not going to go over her whole timeline tonight because we're running out of time, but we've got it. I want to go to Little Monkey real quick since we're already almost at an hour. The star could it be the Dallas Cowboys logo? Oh, good thinking. The lips look feminine. Thank you, Purple Sneakers. They do. They're thin. They're feminine looking. Could that be, well, with lip glossy? Oh, gosh, I didn't even notice that. If he's a musician, he'd want to protect his hands. He has an excessive amount of clothes on. He has layers. Layers, right? Layers of gloves, it looks like, and layers of clothes. I'm going to keep updating you on Nancy. I will put out a video tomorrow about the hands. I think it's important. Haven't heard anyone bringing it up, and I think it's really important. Michael Vaughn. The eyes are almond shaped. Okay. Oh, do you want me to go back? I'm going to do one thing before we go to Michael. Okay. I want to go to, let's go to Savannah's thing. Okay, Annie was out of town, so we don't need to look up Annie. What I want to do real quick is I'm going to put in, or Savannah was out of town, excuse me. Okay. Are those almond eyes to you? Are those almond eyes? I know many of you thought that it might have been Annie. Are those almond eyes to you? Yes, we're getting right to Michael. Then I'll take you to Tommaso. And we can go, what I could do for you guys next time is I'll put all the eyes next to each other. And then we can go to Tommaso. Sorry, y'all. I kicked myself out. Okay, we are going to get to Monkey Vaughn. Michael Monkey Vaughn. Very important. Michael Vaughn was 5 years old. He went missing about a month, 5 weeks after Summer Wells. What happened with Michael Vaughn is Summer Wells's case was, they have colored contacts. Yes, Wanda. Great. We're going to keep studying that. And then I'm going to show you the cartel in the desert. I'll show you a lot of things. They find thousands of bodies in the desert. When we were looking for Daniel Robinson, they found at one point like hundreds of bodies in one place. And, you know, it's so hard to mention that to a father, right? it's hard to say, David, it's in the paper, they found, almost 400 bodies in one place. Have you called in to the medical examiner to see if it's your son? He didn't like hearing that, but you got to say it, because if you're searching, you got to search it all, right? We're going to put some of this stuff together. We're going to put the eyes together. We have the backside from the memorial. I'll put that together for you guys, okay? So Michael, we are going to transition to Michael now. He was 5 when he was disappeared from his home. Michael is one of the few, that 1%, where a stranger grabbed him. They lived so close to Michael, half a mile, if that, to the point they were so close that when they were excavating this monster's yard, Brandy and her family could hear it from their home, the trucks. They were told not to come over. J.D. Huff has retired. He is a wonderful chief of police, worked diligently for the last 5 years for Michael, for the family. And he retired on March 1st. Fabulous chief of police. When I was out there, they didn't have a clue what was going on yet that we knew of, right? He did call in the Cold Case Foundation, which is why you see Chris McDonough standing at some of the press conferences right behind J.D. Huff. And he had no ego. He wanted to solve it. And he would say right to these guys, whoever took him, we're coming for you, because you don't take one of our own and think we're going to put up with it. Hi, Debbie. And he meant it. These are our people. You're not taking Michael. And he meant it. And there's a lot of sheriffs, and I'm going to speak one's name right now, Sheriff Eric Craddock, who has been quoted as saying, you're not going to get a press conference, not even if there is a huge break in this case, will you know. His deputies flipped off the father. They are the minority, I hope. But we have, J.D. Huff was amazing, dedicated, even when he didn't know anything. He was excavating. He was calling people in to help. And now here we are with a monster accused of kidnapping him and emming him. And it breaks my heart. This one's close to my heart. I was out there. I interviewed people. I've been in the neighborhood. I stood right by this monster's house. And by the way, the 2 pedos, registered sex offenders that are married to each other, live right next door. The house that I was at, they got subpoenas to testify this week. So I may have been even more closer than I thought, right? It's terrifying. I mean, I'm glad, that was my first case where I was out. No, I searched for Daniel first, but my second one my first one, I flew somewhere to search. So this guy, for those of you who do not know him, his name is Stacy Wondra. There are 4 suspects in this case. Stacy Wondra, his wife, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrian Lucien. Brandon's in jail, just got out of jail. They're in and out of jail. They live in jail more than they live out of jail. Okay. The only one who's charged right now is this monster. This is the monster who told J.D. Huff that Michael was buried in that backyard. He was in his little orange jumpsuit. So hard to say, isn't it, you all? Yeah, Dan, they couldn't be corrupt in every department, cops. You're right. But you also have good ones who are honorable and protect and serve. But Craddock, this is not going to be accepted. But let's stick on Monkey, and I promise you, we're going to talk about corruption. I have some things I want to talk to you about when we get to Sebastian. But this police force didn't give up. And when his mother needed a liver transplant and didn't look like she was going to live, you saw them turn it up on high speed. They flew out somewhere. They took Shirtliff, I think it was, somewhere. They were hoping he would take them to the body. He did not. Michael's remains have never been found. Michael's body has never been found, but they believe this monster they murdered him. They murdered him and buried him in his front yard. And when he was in jail, Stacy and one of the others moved him. Prayers up for Brandy, her family, for little Buggy, for all of them. All of them. Brandy came into my chat several years ago. And I've told you all this. Something she said that I will never, ever forget. And this is why we're here. She said, Jay, I don't even know what size my little boy's foot is right now. She and I wept together because that was just such a heartbreaking story. So the story is from these monsters is Sarah, he says he saw Sarah carrying Michael and they took him in the house and they were going to sell him for money. First of all, that brings up questions. Who do you know that buys children? I want to know. It's terrible. I'm going to play Brandy for you in the update on today's first day of the hearing. Brandy was on the stand today. This guy, though, it's terrible. Tyler and Brandy were subpoenaed to be there. Those of you who were worried because J.D. Huff retired, well, he worked tirelessly for Michael. His retiring 2 days, 1 day before, the day before the status hearing means nothing. He can still be there to testify if they need him. He doesn't look old enough to retire, does he? But he sure was dedicated. Dedicated, and that's why we are where we are today. He not only took the charges and sent it to the DA. When the DA didn't do anything, he resent it the following year. So he didn't just go, oh, well, they're not, he didn't just give up. He kept going. So these monsters took him in their home. There's a full search going on for the boy, right? Coming up. And one thing I will tell you is when my local source, I have a source right there, out there. My source told me that the night that they were searching, they went to the RSO's homes with the dogs. Well, they live right next door to two of the RSOs. Guess what the dog did? Ran right over to their front door, the Wondras. They went over and knocked, and they did not answer. But the dogs went right over there. Thank you, Minnie. Minnie saying, please don't mention any other creators in the chat. Thank you, mods, for doing such a great job. Okay. So he is on, there is a pretrial. We are going to read what happened today and then listen to Brandy. I have no kind words to say about this dude. He was in an orange jumpsuit, led them to where he said that Michael was buried. Michael was not there. They excavated that yard. They sifted through the soil. They do believe he was there and was moved. So they sent the soil in for DNA testing, which we have not heard the results. They were also going to dig into the pedo RSO's yard, and we never heard anything about that. They were going there the next day. This pretrial hearings, I would be showing, we would be sitting here watching it together, but they are not being live streamed. They do have KTVB. I looked up in the court systems. Law and Crime was denied access to film. KTVB, the local people are allowed to be in there. They can record it. They can take photos and show it later, but not live stream. I found it interesting, though, that he refused Law and Crime, the judge, but let the locals in, and that's okay. He made his decision, right? Yes, picking a striped shirt. Look at him. That is Brandon. Or excuse me, that is Stacy Wondra. Okay. Live updates. Man charged with murdering 5-year-old Michael Vaughn appears in Payette County Court. nearly 5 years after Michael went missing. Let me share this one instead. Okay. Now they're giving live updates because we can't live stream or we would be watching it. I did read where there is a May 9th trial date set. And we'll have to just see if that sticks to it. Yeah. What I'm hoping, you all, is that he tells where Michael's body is. I think that would be really nice for him to actually speak up. But then again, Harmony Montgomery's father hasn't even spoken up where she is, and he's convicted. Never spoke up. We're going to read this article. There he is. There he is. That is the monster who took Michael. They were going to sell him. I want to know who they know that traffics children. He better give a name. They better make him give a name. Okay. This is an active and ongoing hearing. This article is being updated throughout the day. Court began at 9 a.m. in Payette County courtroom. Stacy Wonder was appeared wearing civilian clothing and shackles. And he likes to wear shackles because he's usually wearing them more so than he's not. The fat monster. Nearly 5 years after 5-year-old Michael Monkey Vaughn disappeared from his Fruitland home in July 2021, the man charged with kidnapping and killing him is back in a Payette County courtroom Tuesday as preliminary hearings get underway. We're going to go, let me see, do they have it backwards? Yeah, it's down here where they started because we're going backwards, okay? And I'm going to let you know how the day went today. Okay. The state argued that Stacy Wonder confessed to law enforcement, telling police Michael Vaughn was abducted and taken to his Fruitland home in July of 2021 before being, trigger warning. It's hard for me to read, and you know I'm a baby. I start weeping, so I'm sorry if you hear my voice crack. Before being put in a duffel bag and taken to another location in Kuna, Idaho. Prosecutors say Wonder said Vaughn was buried in his backyard, but the boy's body was never located. At the time in 2022, law enforcement shared their theory that Vaughn was buried at the Wonder home, then later moved to a new location. His body has never been recovered. The defense offered short opening remarks stating, "Our client confesses to nothing." Yeah, I guess what else could you say? He is innocent until proven guilty, but that's how it goes. Prosecution began their arguments by laying out the probable cause they say would prove Wonder committed murder and then destroyed evidence to obstruct the investigation. I can read you that probable cause. He looked all over the house. Oh, I'm sorry. At 9:10, Tyler took the stand. Now, when this first happened, Tyler Vaughn was the one who was home alone with Michael and the kids. Brandy was at work. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for welcoming everyone. Brandy was at work. She worked at the grocery store in the butcher department. She was at work. Tyler was home. Tyler had Buggy, their little one. Yeah, he's lost weight and he still looks something else, right? Buggy was at home, the baby at the time. Then Michael was the next, and then the other two. Well, Tyler was home with the kids, Brandy at work. Tyler took the baby, went in, changed her diaper, called pizza, and I believe was smoking a cigarette. Okay, called for pizza, and when he came out, Michael was in the living room on the couch when he went in to do that. When he came out, Michael was not there. No one saw Tyler till I think the year anniversary. Well, he was at the first press conference, and then it took to the year anniversary. And that bothered people. But it was his guilt. He was home with him. It was his guilt. Put yourself in the shoes, I guess. So Tyler was home, and what a tragedy, and how horrible is it to be the one, right? That's home. Hi, YouTuber. The state called Michael's father, Tyler Vaughn, to the stand, and as we previously reported, Tyler was the person who noticed Michael was missing in the evening of July 27, 2021, and he did call 911. He didn't call some sheriff's number, he called 911. Yes, that was a dig at the Proudfoots. Vaughn told prosecutors at the time of Michael's disappearance he was not familiar with the Wandras or anyone in their home, which is about a half a mile away from the Vaughn's family home in Fruitland. 1%. Vaughn laid out what was happening at the family's home the day Michael went missing. His wife, Brandy, was at work. He had the day off and was home with the family's children. Tyler recalled spending some time with Michael that day. He testified that he saw Michael playing in the family's living room when he went to wake up their 2-year-old around 6:15. She can be hard to wake up, so it took a few minutes. He changed her diaper, ordered pizza, and realized Michael wasn't in the home about 45 minutes later at 7 p.m. He looked all over the house, called Brandy, who thought maybe Michael was hiding. After he was unable to locate Michael, he says he called the police around 7:20 p.m. That's not Tyler, is it? Oh my goodness, he looks different. Wow. He was dismissed from the Tyler looks very different. He was dismissed from the stand at 9:40 a.m. At 9:30, the defense team questioned Tyler's use of marijuana at the time of Michael's disappearance. Let me pause for a second. I don't know how I knew this. But I knew it. Back when they went in to look for Michael, there was weed, marijuana in the home. Like, I think it was in the garage. I don't remember. Okay, it was there. And now they're going to try and make an issue of it, right? Tyler is the father. Yes, Tyler Vaughn. Brandy and he were not married when Michael went missing, but since have gotten married. Yeah, you all, that I would not have poured. Both of them look like they've just, and they have been through the ringer, right? They've been through the ringer. One thing I want to tell you all, I need to stop for a second because I didn't give you the rest. We're not going to go through the probable cause tonight. We've gone through it before, but we'll go through it next time. But what I wanted to tell you was, so they took him in the house, and because Monkey was making noise, Brandon said, let's put him in my duffel bag. They put him in the duffel bag but they duct taped his mouth, put him in the duffel bag, and they drove to Kuna with him. When they got to Kuna, they didn't open it and check on him, and I can't remember where they supposedly put him. And then in the morning, they came back, and Michael was gone. He had suffocated. And they said they could see him wiggling before he suffocated. When they first put him in there, he was wiggling in that duffel bag to get out. So, I don't know how I knew there was marijuana in the house. To me, it wasn't relevant unless there was, all I thought was, could someone have come who was trying to purchase, sell, whatever, and grabbed a kid? That's the only reason it was relevant to me. So they questioned Tyler of his use of marijuana at the time of Michael's disappearance. He had smoked. Tyler said he usually smoked a couple of joints a day outside their home. Tyler testified that he smoked a joint between the time he woke up, their sleeping toddler, and when he noticed Michael was missing. So the defense is going to try and make a big deal of that, right? Yeah, in the back of a truck bed in a hot duffel bag. I know. They wanted to sell him, and they suffocated him. So Tyler says he smoked a J. We're just going to say that. So when that 45 minutes, he had smoked a J. The defense is going to try and bring this in as something. We know that. That's why it's already there. That's why it's already there. So Tyler told the defense that once police arrived at their Fruitland home that night, he and Brandy stayed in close proximity to the home, searching for Michael in the neighborhood. Tyler Vaughn was dismissed from the witness stand at 9:40 a.m. The reason that defense, if I'm right, because I remember the case, is bringing up that they were near their Fruitland home that night is I think they were there was some rumor, I don't know, that they weren't in the neighborhood searching. They searched, they went home together, okay? They were in the house. It was a lot. This case was a lot too. We went through it until they were both cleared. And look at Brandy. My heart just breaks. Okay. Until J.D. Huff cleared them both, we as a channel didn't clear them both. Once J.D. Huff said, we're not looking at the family anymore, we looked away, right? Because that's what you do. If Eric Craddock came out right now and cleared Seth, people would be looking away from Seth. Just like, well, you hope. I did get some pushback on that. They said to me, why are you looking away? And I said, because we're here. We're not law enforcement, right? We're not law enforcement. We get these wild sleuthing ideas, and sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. And I will be honest with you, they cleared them, and I got a lot of pushback from my community. Jay, come on, why are you doing? And I said, because Huff's not looking at them. So while Huff isn't looking at them, we're not. And that is when Brandy started coming into my chat. And when she started, she would, I think a couple times she wanted to come on and talk, and I let her. She did. And then other times she'd talk to my chat. Right. But it was my duty to follow law enforcement. Even if some people don't agree. Hi, everyone. Look at what Brandy's been through. I mean, that just, they both look like they've been through what exactly they've been through, right? Oh, I hope this monster. Now, people are wondering why we don't have 4 of them arrested. If any of you watched the, what's her name? Donna, who went to prison after Charlie Edelman. If any of you watched the Edelmans, where Dan Markle was unalived in his driveway. It was a hire over custody. They wanted the kids to be able, the Dan and Wendy were getting divorced, right? The family wanted custody of the kids. They lived in separate towns. It's not like Dan said no, but he had a very good job, and he would have to look for another job, which takes time. Well, they didn't want that. So they went ahead and took his life. And it turned out they got the person, it was a for hire. Those people went down. Then Charlie went down, the brother. Then Mama, after Charlie's trial was done, they met Mama on it as she was about to board an airplane. The mastermind, Donna, was about to board an airplane to Vietnam where they wouldn't extradite her, and they got her. And she's now in prison for life. Boy, you should have seen that display when they convicted her. People wondered why Wendy wasn't, but it could still come, right? You saw that too, Crazy Bird. And the reason I'm bringing that up is many people say, well, why don't they have the others charged? Well, a lot of them, they're just like to live in prison, in jail. So, but what they're probably doing is they're going to finish Stacy's, and they're going to go to the next one. That's what I'm guessing. Then they'll go to the next one. Then, that's what I'm guessing. Because I've seen that happen before. As have you guys, like in the Adelson case. Let's read what poor Brandy's gone. Look at her, bless her heart. Brandy did get her kidney transplant. She did come and get it in Utah. And look at her, how much weight she's put on, thank goodness, because she was skin and bones. And her hair is blue for monkey. And Brandy did tell me an interesting piece on my channel. She told me that because Tyler failed her liver. Thank you. Tyler failed a couple of polygraphs. And what happened is when I asked her, well, what did JD come up? What happened that he cleared you guys? And Brandy told me that they took them to do the eye detect test because those are more sophisticated than a lie detector. Because if you have a parent of a missing child, they may be nervous, upset, emotional because why? Their kid's missing, right? Liver transplant. Thank you, Nicey. And so the eye detect is different. It's not going to measure that emotion. And after they did the eye detect on the family, they looked away from the family after that. So Brandy shared that with me on my channel long ago. Let's read what they said to Brandy today. Isn't it a shame she had to look at him? And there is a video that we're going to listen to of Brandy talking about being in court. 9:40 a.m., Michael's mother, Brandy Vaughn, was called to the stand. She was in her blue and black shirt, dyed blue hair, which she told Idaho 6 is Monkey's favorite color. Monkey's the blue heart, Summer Wells's favorite color is purple, and Sebastian green. Many in the courtroom are also wearing blue ribbons in Michael's memory. While Brandy began her testimony, members in the courtroom gallery, I'm so sorry, you guys. Members in the courtroom gallery were visibly emotional and wiping their tears. Brandy recalled the July day Michael went missing. She was working at her Albertsons. She received a phone call from Tyler, who couldn't find Michael. She told him to look under their bed, his favorite hiding spot, but Michael wasn't there. Brandy testified that she immediately left work, called her older daughter on her way home, instructing her to get home right away. Yes, her name starts with a K. Brandy appeared, she was in high school. Brandy appeared visibly emotional when prosecutors asked her if she ever located Michael or saw him again. No. Brandy told prosecutors she gave police several items to assist in the investigation that might include Michael's scent or DNA, including a shoe, his pillow, his favorite blanket, and a stuffed animal. I have photos of the area, and I can bring those out sometime. Brandy says during her immediate search of the neighborhood, she spoke with 2 women who were near the splash pad nearby. I've been at the splash pad. Beyond the splash pad is a big bluff. They told her they had not seen a little blonde boy at all, so she left. Brandy Vaughn told prosecutors at the time of her son's disappearance, she had never seen or heard of Stacy and Sarah Wandra, who lived a half mile from their home. Stacy is the only person currently charged in the death. We already read that part. Okay. Brandy was dismissed at 10:17, but may be called to the stand again. I want to show the video where Brandy's talking real quick. Okay. The defense then cross-examined her. The defense questioned Brandy about Michael's footwear. This was a big deal. And that's another thing. We also had a Pizzagate in this case. Thanks, Dan. We also had a Pizzagate in this case because Tyler couldn't remember, had ordered a pizza and he couldn't remember or didn't disclose where he ordered the pizza. So it became Pizzagate, because we all wanted to know where that pizza came from. He couldn't remember. It was just a mess. And it was truly a mess. And I think, it's hard when you'll get things in your head and you're like, well, why wouldn't you know where you got the pizza? It was so basically, I think they just told him not to release that. But of course, it was a tough one. Then there was the shoes. I think the first time the shoes were brought out, and I might be getting this flipped, they were described as flip-flops, and the second time sandals was the first time, second time flip-flops. So I have a feeling the defense is going to kind of go into that a little bit too, just like the pot. The defense questioned Brandy about Michael's footwear. They noticed Michael's new pair of flip-flops was missing. Brandy said he'd only had them for 3 days and recalled how he would mix them up and put the shoes on the wrong feet, likely making it difficult for him to travel very far or fast. Although there was marijuana at the property, there they go again, see, Brandy told the defense it was never in reach of children and was kept hidden away. She gave law enforcement the toothbrush and Brandy recalled law enforcement collecting items like Michael's toothbrush, taking DNA samples from every family member, including all of Michael's siblings. Brandy said Tyler didn't drink alcohol often and said it never concerned her that he smoked marijuana. They're going to try and make a whole big deal of this. 10:33 a.m. Isn't it interesting that they got called to, be on the stand? Of course, they're going to be called. Tyler saw him last. Brandy's the mother. Defense is going to bring them in. Yeah, pass the tissues, please. Just wait till we read the probable cause together again. It's just horrid. They had better ask this monster who he intended to sell a child to. Because Adrian apparently told them they could each get $10,000 for him. So how does Adrian know where you sell a child? Right? How does Adrian know where you sell a child? Nicey says, split second, my son disappeared at the county fair. Luckily, my neighbor spotted him. We was talking to the shear. My neighbor spotted him, we was talking to the, I don't know what that is, sheep. My neighbor spotted and walked him over to us. He went on a ride while talking to Mom. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. That's scary. So Dustin Witt is I think he's one of the officers, right? Okay, no. Prosecution are the ones who are trying to put Stacy away for the rest of his life for these crimes. The prosecution called Dustin Witt to the stand, who at the time of Michael Vaughn's disappearance worked in law enforcement in California. He came in with experience with SWAT and canine investigations and testified that the FBI requested his assistance in the Michael Vaughn case. They're requesting. They don't have egos. They want all the help they can get because it's not about me. It's not about us. It's about finding this child. Witt and his canine were flown to Fruitland in August, which was the month after Michael went, the month following Michael's disappearance. It could have been August 1st, just a few days after. In the day, Sheriff, oh, thank you, Nicey. In the days following Michael's disappearance, he was flown out there. So probably early August. With Witt testified, his bloodhound is trained to follow a scent. Police use items collected from the family to allow the dog to smell Michael's scent. Witt testified his certified bloodhound led officers to a location near Red Wing Street. Told you. Which is about a half a mile from the Vaughn's family home. Witt says the canine was on trail and cut across a front yard to lead detectives to a house on the corner of Meadowlark and Red Wing, where we've previously reported Stacy and Sarah live. The defense questioned him about what types of items you typically do or do not obtain a strong scent trail. Witt says any personal items like clothing, jewelry could work for a strong scent trail, but he'd typically avoid an item from a shared space like a piece of clothing lying in the living room. That may have multiple people's scents on it. He would also not use an item that's just been washed. Witt explained how scent training works and how his canine was selected from a breeder on the East Coast. The dogs begin trail training around 8 weeks old and are ready for a handler around 1 year. So, like I said, I want to get you Brandy's talks here, and I want to get you Brandy's video because she spoke too. Oh, there it is. I think this is it. Okay.
The man charged with murder in the case of missing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn is back in court. I'm senior reporter Don Nelson outside the Payette County Courthouse with reaction
Credit
from
to
Michael's
Idaho
mom
6
as the case
News.
against Stacy Wander moves forward with a week full of hearings.
I hope he sees Michael's face every time he sees me.
Fruitland mom Brandy Vaughn is still desperate for answers, facing her son's accused killer in a Payette County courtroom. almost 5 years after Michael Monkey Vaughn was last seen outside the family's home. Despite searching Stacy Wander's backyard in 2022, Michael's body was never recovered.
This remains an
Hey,
active
right
and
there.
ongoing investigation.
Police at the time named 4 suspects, but it took years for a single murder charge to stick. Did you try to make eye contact
Yes,
with Stacy Wander today?
absolutely.
And
As soon as he made eye contact with me, his eyes darted away real quick and he got very red in the face.
Stacy Wander is the only person currently charged in the case, facing felonies for first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. Monday's status hearing was to make sure that the Payette County Prosecutor's Office and Wander's defense team are ready to start with the preliminary hearing to find probable cause and proceed to a full trial. If you had the opportunity today to say something to him, what would you have asked him?
Where's Michael? What did you do to him?
The preliminary hearing could take the rest of the week and is scheduled to begin Tuesday morning at 9.
I want to hear Brand. Let's listen to her again.
Hope he sees Michael's face.
Stacy Wander moves forward with a week full of hearings.
I hope he sees Michael's face every time he sees me.
Fruitland mom Brandy Vaughn is still desperate for answers, facing her son's accused killer in a Payette County courtroom, almost 5 years after Michael Monkey Vaughn was last seen outside the family's home. Despite searching Stacy Wander,
Heartbreaking, isn't it? So they will be in preliminary hearings all week. They will be, MCE has a comment I want to read. They will be in preliminary, and that was credit to Idaho 6, by the way. They will be in preliminary hearings all week. It's supposed to go through Friday. And, you know, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I will give you the updates. This is, I hope they get this guy. I don't care. I just want them to give Michael home, give Michael back. Yeah, Michael had gone out to play, and what they didn't tell us back during the search and all that is a neighbor had seen Michael riding a tricycle, and the tricycle was later seen near the Wanderer's home and then moved by the Wanderer's, Sarah's mother, near an area where it didn't make sense. I think it was near the bluff, actually. I have photos. I'll show you the bluff. I actually drove through because they didn't know how they got in and out of the neighborhood because there's one way in and one way out. And the police station is literally so close. We thought, and it was so weird because it was like, who would do this knowing the cops station, the police station's right so close? And it was really hard to figure that out. So we went and I had a local with me who took me through all that farmland, all those fields and crops, and showed me the ways that the locals knew how to get through out of that neighborhood without using the streets. I mean, when I was there, I can't tell you every local, I'd say, well, you know, I know there's one way in and one way out. And I was just seeing what they'd say. And they say, no, we've got a way. And they'd show me another way. So they have their ways to get in and out. And I have all that footage and I will share that with you all. And that is Michael Monkey Vaughn, who has not been found yet. You did see his mother, which is just terrible. Absolutely terrible. There is an interview where this monster is talking to another creator and Brandy comes in. And the way he speaks to Brandy, I wanted to reach through the screen and pop him in his darn mouth. We will watch that together if you haven't seen it. I mean, that's something out. The probable cause we're going to go over together, but I want you to see that interview. That disrespectful mouth talking to the mother of a missing child. Kind of like those deputies, but worse for the deputies because they take an oath not to be an ass. Forgive me. So, justice for Monkey. Justice for Monkey. Trying to see if they had anything else going on. Dustin Witt was there. No, so that was the day right there. Okay, so that was the day for Monkey. And here's the probable cause affidavit, and we will go over it. We will go over this probable cause another night because I do want to get into Sebastian too. and a few things you all have asked me to share with you. First of all, you're all amazing sleuths. I love what you send me. I love your timestamps. I love your clips. I love your ideas. And here is one. Yeah, Joanne says if I got a hold of him, I would be in jail. I feel the same way. And that's how I feel like, how did Brandy not walk that half block and beat the hell out of him? I'm sorry. How, she's got strength. How does Seth Rogers not, when they were at their home before they abandoned the home where Sebastian would come back and changed her phone number? I really honor Seth for not going over there and beating the hell out of that stepfather. After reading those CPS reports, especially. So, these parents who show restraint. Who put Chris M on a goose chase? Cheryl. Oh, before we go on to Sebastian. Yeah, Crazy Bird, it's amazing. Brandy is a very strong, beautiful person. She's been advocating for him. We just saw both of them look shockingly different from when we began. And if you would like me to, I will get some pictures for you of Tyler and Brandy when this first happened, and we will compare it to now. These monsters make me sick. Before I go on to Sebastian, I do want you to know, yes, they have the restraint of saints. And I just don't know if I could have that. I hope I would, but I don't know. I think I've never hit a person in my life, but I think it would be my first. There has been, I don't know if you've been on my lives when it was announced the other night, and that was tears too. I guess I'm just emotional this week, aren't I? With everything going on. But I was doing a live and I got notification that there had been an alleged possible sighting of Summer Wells in Russia. And while I was on the live, I announced it to you guys. But I didn't tell you they also sent me a photo. And first photo I saw, didn't look too much like her to me. The second photo, my jaw hit the floor. Looked a lot like, it looked like it could be Summer. So, however, her eyes are bright blue. The photo in the Russian classroom, her eyes look brown, but that could just be a camera, right? We don't know. So they are communicating with Russia. At night is communicating with Russia on how to get to the little girl and get her out of there, because right now we are at war overseas and there is a ban on Americans communicating with anyone in Russia or Russia, period, for personal or private reasons. However, At Night does have an agent already in Russia. So that's there. So they're communicating. I have a new tip line to play with you. If you weren't with us earlier, I was not laughing, but it was funny. And you guys, if you were with me, I said, Nick, are you in here? Because they told me about it. I played it. And immediately it's not a new number, but it's a new recording because Summer Wells is on their list now, right? Summer and Sebastian together linked. And you do know Kathy Bowersox has been linked to being a relative of Candace Bly. I said Don Wells before. It's Candace. Forgive me. I clarified. I had told one other creator, Don. I had told you guys, Don. It's Candace. Kathy and Candace. So they have now a new, when you call their tip line, it's hilarious. Actually, do you want to hear it? We're not going to listen to everything, but so it could be Summer. I'm like at a 50-50, but when I saw her head's shaved, which I worry about because her head was shaved when she went missing. So if that is Summer or whatever child, no one else's head's shaved in that classroom. Are they getting ready to move her? Or was that shortly after she arrived. And I know they gave me the date of that, so I'll have to go back and remember. But I'm going to play to you the new, did I call dogs? Okay, here it is. I'm going to play this for you guys, and it starts out, you're going to love this, giving you a place to report the corruption and misconduct from anyone in Sumner County Sheriff's Office or Sumner County politics. So, I do not, Daniel, know where in Russia. And if I did, I wouldn't say it out loud because we would never want them to move her. But I do not know. But we are going to, just in case. But it looks like some little girl who shouldn't be there, regardless if it's summer or not. But what happened is she was picked up because identified because At Night had put out facial recognition, and this girl's profile and cheekbones matched. We do need a little humor tonight, don't we, Dan? Here it comes. Are you ready? So you now have a place to report these people. Craddock, here we come. Oh, let me put it on speaker for you.
If you have credible information regarding misconduct, corruption, abuse of authority, obstruction, retaliation, evidence tampering, conflicts of interest, fraud, or any comparable wrongdoing connected to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and or Sumner County Republican Party in Sumner County, Tennessee area, you may submit that information to our review desk via email at corruption@atnight.agency.
Thank you for calling One World Switchboard. Please note that this call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance and security purposes. At Night Creative Intelligence Agency, a division of One World Society, backed by Dog the Bounty Hunter, is intensifying its search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who has been missing since February 26, 2024. Additionally, they are searching for Summer Moon Utah Wells, who has been missing since the 15th of June, 2021. A reward of up to $550,000 is offered for any credible information that leads to Sebastian and or Summer's safe return and the arrest of the responsible monsters. This message will be played in English and Russian due to intelligence indicating that individuals who may possess relevant information could be Russian-speaking. You have reached the information and tip submission line regarding the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells. Summer Moon Utah Wells is a child from the United States who went missing on the 15th of June 2021 from Rogersville, Tennessee. Her whereabouts remain unknown, and the search effort continues. And this search effort, the 4-par. If you have seen a child who resembles Summer, or if you have any information that may help determine her location, we ask that you share that information with our team. Information can include sightings, photographs, video recordings, online posts, conversations, travel information, or any other details that may help investigators understand where Summer may be. You may submit information to our team by email or by text message. If you send an email, please include a clear description of what you observed or learned, along with the date, the location, and any supporting photos, videos, or links that may help verify the information. If you prefer to send a text message, please include the most important details, what you saw, when it occurred, where it occurred, and any description of people, vehicles, or surroundings that you remember. If you are willing to be contacted, please include a safe method for us to reach you. If you prefer to remain anonymous, you may state that at the beginning of your message, please do not put yourself in danger or attempt to confront anyone. If you believe a child is in immediate danger, contact your local emergency services immediately. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for any information that may help bring Summer home. Now, the same message will be repeated in Russian. Здравствуйте. Вы связались с линией приема информации по делу о пропавшем ребенке Саммер Мунюта Уэллс. Саммер Мунюта Уэллс, девочка из Соединенных Штатов, которая пропала 15 июня 2021 года в городе Роджерсвилл, штат Теннесси. Ее местонахождение до сих пор неизвестно, и поиск продолжается.
Okay. So it goes on and on in Russian. And the reason they don't have they're using Summer's name in Russian is why I just told you. They don't have that in Russian for Sebastian. It's because that's not where they're connecting Sebastian to, but they do feel possibly they found a link between the two cases. My cousin, 30 years now, looks like the older picture of Summer when she was a preteen. My cousin, 30 years now, looks like the older picture of Summer when she was a preteen. Okay. Oh, gotcha. When your cousin was a preteen, I was going to say Summer is not a preteen. Okay, got it. Oh, interesting. She must be very beautiful then. Summer is a beautiful child. So you do have a place now to send things about misconduct, corruption, anything. They've given you a platform to do so. So send it in, email it, give them details. They're going to they'll put it together and use it accordingly. Remember their message that they're going to flip that GOP party. So no one's messing around anymore. Now everyone's firing up. We're not messing around. And I certainly know they're not messing around. Okay. And also I do want to inform you that, on the 2-year mark, Eric Craddock couldn't be bothered to give an interview. And then he put out this pathetic update on Facebook, which I went bananas. It was just like one paragraph, and then we hope he comes home. So then that was criticized. He came out with a page and a half of just, nothing new, no investigative anything, not like Nanos does, not like JD Huff did, not putting up suspects, telling you profiles, telling you like we're collecting DNA, we're waiting, we found DNA in the house. They have given zero investigative information. They saw a sedan. They never put it on the Amber Alert. They saw people get out of that sedan with flashlights. They never put the photos up, even the images in the night vision or whatever that they have captured to the public to identify. Images walking through the backyard never showed the public to identify. They've never told the public what they are doing right now. They're sitting on their tushes waiting for a tip to come in to solve the case. That's not being a detective and an investigator. They're flipping off the father. I wrote the report. I reported them. I got a call back, and I'm following up because that guy should not be working. He needs to be out on his arse. So I will be following up. And by the way, the supervisor sergeant who called me, when I send something now, I copy him and Brandon. So he's copied right along with Brandon. So he knows what's going on. Because guess what? They did not know Seth Rogers was begging for the FBI and Craddock refused. They did not know Seth Rogers was begging for the U.S. Marshals and Craddock refused. They did not know he was flipped off, obviously, till I told them. I told them that it's just been terrible. And we went through it. And then he asked me for the link of the detectives flipping him off. And when I sent it to him, hey, Town Chat, nice to see you. Welcome back to the family. Thank you for becoming a member again. And when I told him, then he said, send me a link, which I did. What I did is I reiterated everything in writing to him. And now when I send Brandon a tip, guess what? Detective Carter hasn't gotten back to me even during the ransom, even during sightings, possible sightings. I've had to send in 2 tips since I reported them. Both times Brandon Carter got back to me. One was about Dara. Did you know Katie made a stop in the afternoon for a few minutes? And this has been kept from the public. And I sent it to the sergeant, and I sent it to TBI and FBI, and Brandon Carter did respond, and he said, we are aware of the events of that day. Respectfully, Brandon Carter. The other one he sent me said, respectfully, Brandon Carter. So I think they they had a little talking to, but that's not enough. So they knew Dara's house was stopped at with Sebastian, the niece, and Katie. And for some reason, whatever occurred there was so nefarious that it has to be hidden from the public. And I say that in my opinion, but you tell me, when you're looking for a child, why that child's mother's steps of that day have to be hidden and covered up. Because after Dara's, they were at the bowling alley and they were at Texas Roadhouse. So it's not like something, he was unalived at Dara's or anything. So what happened in that few minutes? What did Dara and Katie do? What exchange? That has to be hidden from the public. That never made it to the timeline. Just like Lori being there. Just like the haircut between the bowling alley and Texas Roadhouse. Never made it to the timeline. Okay, so this is the alleged sighting of Sebastian, December of 24 at Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Significant because KP's mother was convicted of her sexual misconduct to a minor that she was either a parent or guardian to in 2002 in West Virginia. She now lives in Virginia. Okay. Many of you saw this and thought this looked like Laura. I put a picture of Laura up next to her the other day, and you all still thought it looked like Laura. We're not accusing Laura. We're just saying, wow, that looks like Laura, KP's friend who was there that no one speaks about, who has military experience, as does her husband, and they live in Illinois. Hi, Marge. Say that again. Okay. This is a sighting from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia in December of 2024. It was sent to me February 11th of 2026. The reason it was such a delay is the individual who caught this on their footage was not there filming, didn't know about Sebastian's disappearance. YouTuber, I'm going to get to that. I want to get to that, and I'm glad you said that. We're gonna crowdsource about that in a second. Didn't know anything about Sebastian. They were just there filming for a travel blog, Harpers Ferry. It's a historical place in the Shenandoah. Okay, it's also along the Appalachian Trail, I think. And one of our subscribers happened to see it February 11th and thought, oh my gosh, that looks like Sebastian. And then finds out it's just a few months after he went missing, 10. And so that's why it's not 2 years. That's why he doesn't look tall, maybe filled out or anything like that, because it wasn't long after, if this were him. Now, someone told me Seth felt like it didn't look like his child. However, and we're just going to look at something. But I never hear that from Seth or his PI. His PI said to me that it does look like him to her. Whoops, sorry, y'all. What did I just do? Oh, okay. What did I just do? Escape. Oh, no. We need that slide. Hold on. You guys, what just happened? Hold on. Close that. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to close it for a second. And then we're going to go back to it. Okay. One of you went to Laura's Facebook and got a photo of Laura, and she had changed her hair. Her hair was different. And you had put, oh, that gets so blurry when I do it like that, you guys. She had put the kind of hair on that was at let me take that down. Hold on. I'm not doing it justice for what you did. I'm sorry, my friend, whoever did this. Okay, we're going to go back. I'm going to take it this way. going to put it back the way it needs to go. Unzoom it. It was blurry anyway, but I want to get it to where it's not blurry, and then make it smaller. Okay. So many of you thought this might be Laura's KP's friend. So one of you, you're amazing, went and to her Facebook, saw a photo, and her hair was different, and put this on to match what it looked like on the person at Harper's Ferry. Many of you have emailed me thinking this could be KP's friend Lori, but what we don't know is, what does John look like? Okay, what does John look like? Is this what John looks like? Remember, they started avoiding the travel blogger's camera too when they saw the travel blogger coming around. I did a timeline for you guys. Okay. So I don't know what you all think. Oh, you couldn't see? I'm so sorry, you all. Hold on, let me share it with you. Oh, I am so sorry. Here I'm talking to myself and you can't see it. Where was it? Let me pull it back up. There you go. I'm sorry, y'all. So many of you thought that could be Lori. And so someone got us a little bit better view of Lori. We are not accusing anyone. I agree, Becky. Hi, Freebird. No, I am talking about Lori K, but that's a good point. A lot of people don't know that, do they? Are you talking about Laura McClure in Stanley, Wisconsin? She is a SO and also related to Francis and Katie. And Katie's mother, Frances Suzette Rosenbaum McClure, is a RSO for life. She looks quite a bit like Green Hoodie. And they did go out to Virginia to search her home. I think that was in December of 24 or November. Lori K is, hi, Diane. We're just glad you're here. Lori K is Katie's friend. Yeah, no, it's not that Lori. It's not that Laura. This is Lori K, who is Katie's friend from the military. And I'm saying K because I can't remember. It's a weird last name. From the military, who when Seth arrived that day, that morning of the after Sebastian disappeared, Lori was there. Lori was already there at 8 a.m. in the morning, 8-ish when Seth arrived. MCE says, Jay, there's also a group photo where CP is in pink. Is LK's husband in that photo? You know, someone sent me that photo. I'm going to have to go look for that. Will you send that to me again if you have it, MCE? We're going to have to go on Facebook. I will spell the last name for you tomorrow. I will write it down so when we go live, I will have that last name. Someone in the chat might have it because I gave it to them and they did this for us. Okay. You're welcome to write out her last name if you know it. It starts with a K. I think it's Greek. What did you notice that as well, Show Poodles? Weird how the sightings of Sebastian are all with other individuals. I know. Who bear resemblance to the other players. Great point. It's very strange. And weird how most of the sightings are in locations where KP's family members live. So it could be her. Thank you, Town Chat. I just emailed you the other day, Town Chat. Will you email me back? Okay, you just saw it in a creator's channel. Town Chat just said she has it. So she'll email it to me. Thank you. And Town Chat, I sent you an email today or yesterday Put a 1 if you think they look alike. 2 if you think, nah. And if you are in here and know her last name, it starts with a K off the top of your head. You are welcome to put it in the chat. Yeah, you guys think it looks like her. I've had so many emails about it. So she was there that morning when Seth arrived. So you tell me, how did she get herself from Illinois to Hendersonville when the child was reported missing at 6? Her narrative doesn't say I called Lori first. Doesn't say that. How would she have gotten from Illinois, be standing in that kitchen when Seth arrives? Someone just said they heard Tommaso is renovating the house. Are you talking about Nancy's house or his own house? Oh my goodness. Nicey says Lori's Jeep was parked in front of the house when the news helicopter flew over. I need to go find that video. Oh, Nicey, yes, please do. Isn't it? We have so much stuff in 2 years, and that's why I'm starting to resend old tips. I'm about to send an old tip that I had gotten, because I don't think tips were looked at back then. And how does Eric Craddock have the absolute nerve to turn down interviews and then say to a news station he declines? But here was his quote: "We haven't gotten any new tips in a long time." I'm paraphrasing. "We sure hope Sebastian comes home, is found." However he put it. We haven't had any new tips in a long time. At night, just drop them thousands of batches of information and tips. I've been sending tips. Some of you have been sending tips. I just sent them the Harper's Ferry tip. Yes, Kalinakis. Thank you. I think it's Greek. So if anyone wants to look up John Kalinakis on Facebook, we'll see if he looks like this guy. Yes, after I put this out, I've heard conveniently that Lori was in Nashville visiting family, and that's how she got to KP so quickly. Now, y'all, is that a coincidence or what? Come on. I think it could go both ways, right? She's staying with family because she was already planning to be there because of something, I don't know, not accusing, just speculating, asking questions. That's just too much of a coincidence that her best friend was in Nashville when her child went missing. Come on. She lives in Illinois. Unless she knew her friend was going to be there and something alleged, in my opinion, a big plan was passed because she knew she'd have her friend in town to help. I don't know. I'm just saying. Here are the weird things that have happened, just a few of them in this case. Glasses were found a few steps from the step socks, never checked the prescription. So if you want corruption or misconduct or weird things to report, here you go. Mattress pad. Charlie took it. He says Ellie said they didn't want it, so he threw it away. Panson Creek. Ellie didn't want that. They didn't want to get wet. Backyard images, flashlight and sedan. Ellie does not ask the public for help with the car or the people they saw get out of that car. Right, county commissioners? Right, Craddock? Ellie does not ask for the public's help in identifying and debunks all knowledge of it. They probably got rid of the footage, in my opinion. I hope not. Thursday, the neighbors saw lights in the woods right by the construction site. They called Sumner County. They did not come to respond. We had a ransom back in June, several of them threatening Sebastian's life. And they never came. They never responded. They didn't do anything. At night, had to fund the ransom and have it ready and contact all the powers that be to help with that. Like happening in Nancy's. You can't just ignore it. During that time, by the way, Craddock went and asked for a raise, but didn't give a rat's you know what that a kid They were saying they were going to beat the H out of him, all this stuff. Yeah. The mattress pads found. Chris Proudfoot is seen bringing in a new mattress into the garage. He says it was given to him. Well, he has no friends that we've heard of or seen in 2 years, so it had to be family. So family helped him get another mattress in that garage because everyone knew the kid Sebastian slept in the garage when he went, because as Chris would put it, he didn't like the smell in the house. Hi, Caroline. I've been following Nancy Guthrie very closely as well. John was an electronics technician in the Navy. I think I did hear that. Then, when they're told by a neighbor called, you need to come get my footage, I see people carrying him out of that house. Law enforcement, we're told, said to them, does he look like Show Poodle? Does it look like the person in the photos? Law enforcement says to that person, that's not what you're seeing. That's not what you're seeing. I'm hearing they might be divorced, so one of them may have moved from the town that I gave you guys the name of if you emailed me. Then we have a deputy flipping off Seth. Does he still have a job? How about the judge who got threatened at Bullhorn's court thing? You know, a judge who's threatened, Craddock and them were supposed to, you have to follow up on that. That is a federal thing. That's like a serious crime. And was that just another distraction? Was he really threatened? Did they discipline someone? Did they discipline the guy who gave the finger to a father? I don't know, but I'll be calling the detective again. I'll be calling the supervising sergeant again to ask him. We're done sitting by and watching these people act like they're Boy Scouts. They had a tip line with no instructions and sent it to someone retired. Why don't they worry about tips? What do they know? How come when someone calls them, they say, that's not the kind of evidence we're looking for? You don't see that. We don't need that. We don't want the mattress pad. We're not going to check the glasses against the prescription, even though it's 3 doors away from the step monster grandparents who claim to hate him. Allegedly, in my opinion, not claim to hate him. People tell the things they've said about him. And anyone who goes to Alaska a couple days after your grandchild is missing means you're just not that concerned. And we're going to be talking about Alaska coming up. Audio in the backyard was captured. KP and CP have been saying since the beginning, law enforcement knows everything. There were lights in the backyard. I showed you earlier. Someone hiding behind C Cars, in between C Car's yard, Katie's yard, 2 flashlights, and then KP's bedroom light on at 3:06. Right there. There's the 2 people with the flashlights standing behind Chris C's garage and in front of KP's backyard. And there's KP's light on at 3:06. Thought you were sleeping, KP. Thought this was a trash truck, Craddock. FBI thought they were truck lights. No. County Commissioner, you need to speak up. You saw a sedan. You told one of your people, don't worry about your children. This was not random. This was targeted. We saw a 3 a.m. dark sedan pull up in your neighborhood, went up Kellen, turned around, let people out by C Car's house, by the way. They got out with flashlights, 2 or 3 people, and then the car went to the corner about 3:06 a.m. Isn't it miraculous that KP's lights on at 3:06, and here you go, are 2 people with flashlights. So now you see the truth, and you have not been told the truth. There's Katie's senior photo box that was found with near the mattress pad. The mattress pad that is biomagnetic for autistic children. I shared that with you the other night. If you missed it, go back through my other videos on who took the mattress pad. Something that says Katie's senior photos. What a coincidence. I found this in the brush between Worsham's and Beach Storage Unit. See above date, time, and location. It was in May, and I did take her name out of there. If you look, there is the figure of a body. Those who were with it said it was probably urine and bodily fluids. Use your imagination. It wasn't blood. When law enforcement was called, according to Charlie Briley, they said they did not want it, so he got rid of it. Why would law enforcement not want a mattress pad when they were hearing stories of a kid wetting the bed and sleeping in the garage? So now that evidence is gone too. They didn't even think of the DNA that was on there. Disgusting. Biomagnetics, alternative approach, biomagnetism for parents in autism. This was found May 13th over at Worsham's. Worsham's, by the way, was in the radius of the search, which is why I can tell you the search was in my opinion, the search was a farce. They made it look good. Thank you, April. You know why? Worsham's was in that search radius where all the high school kids, I found out from a local, that's where they go to eat biscuits before school in the morning. Law enforcement, number one, it's in their radius, should have gotten the footage. Worsham says they didn't. Number two, they should have beat it over there because they knew the high schoolers went over there for the biscuits. They didn't. Number three, Katie should have gone over there because the high schoolers hang over there and have biscuits. If your child, you think he ran away, he's going to go eat biscuits or do something with people, not go barefoot to school and just hang out for 2 hours earlier, an hour and a half earlier. Worsham is allegedly friends with the family. Go way back, allegedly. Worsham, one of our subs, asked Worsham if Sumner County gave them got the footage. They said no, they came too late. Well, shame on you. You served the community for 102 years. They were saying everyone checked their footage. And you just conveniently decided to be a bad citizen then, that you weren't going to help out. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy that Worsham's just decided not to check their cameras. They checked their cameras, in my opinion. Okay. Also, their cameras would have revealed Mama Sock sitting on the side of the road at 5:10 to 5:52 a.m. Right in the perfect place when KP shows up at the high school. She'd been telling us for so long she went to the high school to search. Then the dialogue changes. Oh, as I arrived, I was told to go home. Perfect excuse to drive that loop through and exit right by Worsham Storage and Market, where Mama Socks was seen. Not just rumors, even the PIs were told that by two different people that she was spotted. They even told law enforcement to check the trail cams if they didn't get Worsham's. I mean, who doesn't get the footage right in your radius? There's no excuse. They didn't go to BP and get that footage. They didn't go to Texas Roadhouse and get that footage. They're a disgrace, in my opinion. They're hiding the fact that Dara, right here, here you go. Let me enlarge it for you. They're hiding the fact that Dara says, yep, he was at my house for a few minutes on Sunday afternoon with his mom and his cousin. We'll get into her later. So we don't have a timeline. And here's why. Nothing we were told, in my opinion, is real. Because we're finding out. They try to hide that Lori was there. They've covered up, hidden. Law enforcement doesn't have to tell us anything. Right? But don't you think it's weird that they have to hide where a mother had been the day her child goes missing? The last day her child is seen. Don't you find that odd? I looked it up. The reason you omit things like that is because they connect someone to a crime. They expose a motive. They are incriminating. Why wouldn't you add? If you're adding spaghetti pancakes, why would you not add my visit to my friends? I just stopped by for a few minutes. By the way, those of you who said in the chat you made a connection to Dara to family, please email that to me. Thank you. This is the last thing I'm showing you, but this is what I was working on. We know nothing. We know absolutely nothing. Brandon Carter was quoted talking about the day's events to the FBI update. He didn't mention Dara's, a stop to Dara's either. Here's what I'm going to show you. If it's in red, it came from Katie and I'm not buying it. If it's in white, I know it, or Brandon Carter shared it in that update. Also, I have the niece in yellow because every time she's mentioned, Katie and Chris get very defensive. Leave her alone. She's been through enough. Something's up there. Something's up with the Brinks truck, in my opinion, because of the way he said that they don't have permission to look at it because it's a work vehicle. He told Nancy. She said, did you ask? No, I didn't ask. But everything CP doesn't want addressed. He says law enforcement won't let me, and he doesn't want the Brinks truck brought up. I'm not going to tell you the make, the year, the model, because it's not ours and they wouldn't like that. Did you ask? No, I didn't ask. I just run things out of my mouth. They don't have to share anything with us, but they do have to investigate a missing child. That's right. And they will have to explain why it was important to keep Dara's visit, one of the last few people to see Sebastian, a secret. It has to be very relevant, doesn't it? Do you know there was another channel who got a FOIA'd them? And what they got back, it was just, they said not even, ongoing investigation. They won't send a lot of stuff usually, but there's those basic things that they'll send you. It was so small, they couldn't believe it. That's why, my friends, we don't have. That's why, my friends, we do not have the marshals and the FBI coming in my opinion. Because they would have to turn over an empty file and look like a bunch of Boy Scouts. Dan saying, can I have a copy of that, Jay? Of this right here? Sure. I can screenshot it and send it to you. Absolutely. I'll screenshot it. Okay, so the red is the BS. Spaghetti pancakes. Do we know? Do we have proof? No. Pick up niece. What niece? Who called? Did they call? We don't know. Was it already pre-planned? We don't know. Could have been. That's coming out of Katie's mouth. Visit to Dara, confirmed. Brandon Carter confirmed they know the events of the day. I sent his FBI quote update, and I said, since the visit to Dara's wasn't included in here, I wanted to make sure you knew. And he said, we are aware of the events of that day. So lots of things are being hidden. He also included in the FBI update that they went shopping at a department store. Katie's never mentioned that. But he's got it in the FBI update, so we put it in the timeline. What is in white was in the FBI update by the lead detective, or what we know, because we've seen some proof. Then they said BJ's with 2 aunts and 2 cousins. That came out of KP's mouth. I don't buy it. I'm not buying anything. Google it, y'all. That's right. Home to unpack snacks. Really? Okay. Later on, when she was asked about that, she said, yeah, but we didn't buy much. But yet you made that one of the first things you're going to talk about in one of your first interviews with Chronicles of Olivia. You say we went home to unpack snacks because, 15-year-olds snacks. Okay. Really? But then the next time when the PI asks you, and then you went home and unloaded groceries and you say, well, we didn't have that much. We don't have a timeline or the truth. Not only that, then she says they went to Strike and Spare. When she found out, we all figured out they weren't bowling. Then she admits there was a tournament. So they went to the arcade. Chris Proudfoot says, "Oh, I saw the footage of him all weekend, even at the bowling alley. He's happy. He's having a good time." Really? They were there 10 minutes. Captured at the desk and in the parking lot. 10 minutes. See how they're lying? CP, "Oh yeah, he was having a great time, even at the bowling alley. He was smiling." No. Even Seth said he looked uncomfortable. 10 minutes. Katie tried to get an hour or so out of there. Then there's a haircut, never disclosed. Why? Dara's isn't disclosed. The haircut's not disclosed. What shopping center is not disclosed. Nope. And we know he got a haircut because between Strike and Spare and Costco's photo from the day before and Strike and Spare's photo, and then by the time he gets to the Texas Roadhouse, he has like a little bowl cut. Fresh looking bowl cut. Oh, Becky says, "In my opinion, they should look at cruise ships for Sebastian. You know, that's a really good idea." Janet says, "I need a glass of wine." That's a great idea. You know, when you're in international waters, though, it's like the Wild West. The laws don't count. So you're right. That's a really good idea, Becky. So look what little is in white. I just want you to look at that. What little is in white is from the FBI update and things that have been confirmed to us. We can see with our own eyes there was a haircut. We know he was only there for 10 minutes. We saw the images at the Strike and Spare. We're not watching him laugh and have fun. Brandon Carter said they were at a shopping at a department store. We found out Dara said they came over to her house. That's been left out of the public narrative, and law enforcement knew about it. I thought KP maybe lied to law enforcement, and that's why that's not in the narrative. No, they knew. Like KP and Chris said, law enforcement know everything, and I believe it. I'm beginning to believe it. We do know they were at the Texas Roadhouse. Sumner County never showed us that footage, ever. It was going to go away. I guess they never got it. Brandon Carter showed up once. I know that he showed up once. He left his card. They tried to call him back because they looked at the footage and they saw something. They saw things that were suspicious. They kept calling him. He never returned. He never returned their phone calls. He never got the footage. Till Dog got it months and months later. And then guess who suddenly got interested? KP, running to the restaurant, making a scene during lunch. Had to be asked to leave and not return. They also saw a car out in the parking lot, sat there for an hour and never came in. Very unusual. Green hoodie was unusual. Green hoodie entered, walked through, went into the women's bathroom and exited. They thought it also looked like Katie Proudfoot's mother because they started looking at things too. And then law enforcement cleared Green hoodie within minutes. Well, guess what? Prove it. Then in the FBI update, they said, oh, and when they interviewed him, the person even had on the same sweatshirt. And if that's the level of investigative skills that are being used, I think we understand why kids aren't found in Tennessee. Again, anything in red is out of Katie's mouth, and I don't trust one thing she said. She didn't make spaghetti pancakes, in my opinion. She's not that way. She's not that kind. In my opinion. We know the Texas Roadhouse exists thanks to Dog the Bounty Hunter. I have a tip that says Katie stopped on the way home, talked to a sheriff, told Sebastian to get out of the car. Someone was with Katie driving home. I have that tip. She stopped at, and then I have another person who told me she stopped at BP, talked to someone in a dark black sedan. It fits. Law enforcement, by the way, didn't get that footage either, that we're told. What the neighbors have told me is that she pulled in when they got home. She pulled in. Yeah, she doesn't mention shopping at a department store in any interviews. Nothing. She doesn't mention the haircut. She doesn't mention Dara. She doesn't mention that they showed up at the Strike and Spare and left. She tells us the wrong meal he ate at Texas Roadhouse. She's taking photos that the next day are secret photos at the Texas Roadhouse. And the next day, when her child disappears, hours later, does not give those most recent photos to law enforcement. Seth walks in the house. She sticks a phone in his face and says, "See, he was happy." Really? She made such a big deal. We went straight home from Texas Roadhouse, straight home from Texas Roadhouse. We didn't stop anywhere. Straight home, ask law enforcement. They've got all my movements tracked. They've got my Life 360 or whatever that is. And she doth protest too much, in my opinion. And by the way, we're going to get to a couple of other things about the garage. She pulled in, according to the neighbors, and shut the door before they got out, so you could not see who was in the car. That's a fact. She mentions the trash chore after they get home. I don't believe it. Not for a minute that Sebastian took out the trash. Not for a moment. Now Janet's getting her glass of wine. Not for a moment do I believe he took out the trash. Then she says, because even Peter Hyatt, rest in peace, said, as vague, I think he said, as vague as she was, there's a few things she makes sure to put in there and repeats them and doubles down on them. He took the trash out to the end of the driveway outside because that's his chore. Doubling down. Sebastian was playing in his room. How do we know? How do we know? Brandon Carter never mentioned that, what Sebastian was doing when he got home. He didn't mention the trash chore. I don't believe her. If he was so, yeah, I think he was too. That's coming up. That's coming up. I think he was home too. Why is he shown at 1:30? Coming home? Okay, Dan, I will get to that question because I'm just about getting there. So I will definitely get to that. That's a good one. Hands on his ears, Sebastian wasn't having a good time. Right. It's just so sad. So my question is, Sebastian's playing in the room. What was Sebastian's favorite thing to do? Play on his Switch. Does law enforcement have a login? Do we have proof he turned on that switch and logged in or was on it? It would have showed up as being logged into if he opened his phone, any of that. Nicey says, I believe it wasn't KP and Sebastian pulling in the garage. I think it's another female and male teenager. In my opinion, no scent of him taking out the trash. I believe the two places at once. I believe the two places at once. What does that mean, though? I agree with everything you said. I'm just not sure what you mean. I believe the two places at once. I don't think he took out the trash either, in my opinion. 1:30 p.m. Monday afternoon is when CP supposedly came home the second time, in my opinion. I believe he was there. And I believe that he got back to the crane just in the nick of time to sit his little self in that crane, allegedly, in my opinion, because he thought that was his alibi. He didn't realize he needed to show where he was the whole night before, if we had normal investigators, in my opinion. So Sebastian's playing in his room. Did he log into anything? Did the Wi-Fi or however they checked that show that someone was on a device? Was he in his closet playing with paper clips and shiny pennies again? None of it makes sense. Katie says he went to bed at 9. Yep, and he went real well. Brandon Carter says in the FBI update, Sebastian went to bed between 9 and 10. Now, this is where it doesn't make sense, Brandon's facts. If Sebastian went to bed between 9 and 10, and a little bit before 10, she heard a loud bang, he would have been in bed. It wouldn't have been between 9 and 10 because allegedly that loud bang happened from his room. And she said, I don't care what you're doing in there, go to sleep. So even his facts right here are wrong. 9 to 10, but yet he's in his room before 10 with a loud bang. So where's the specifics? See how they're being vague? Then he says KP called her husband and they were on the phone for nearly 2 hours until midnight. Okay, nearly 2 hours. So 2 hours would be 10 p.m. to midnight. Nearly 2 hours would be after 10 p.m. to midnight, which shows Katie called Chris after the loud bang. And Chris's quote with his first interview from the journalist who starts out the show saying, the stepfather said the emotional roller coaster all began Sunday night. Oh boy, he put his foot in his mouth, didn't he? Because Katie's there saying it was a wonderful evening. Nothing was wrong. And he's telling a journalist the emotional roller coaster began Sunday night. Yeah, with a loud bang. What was it? It was something between Katie and Sebastian, in my opinion. Something. Were they fighting? Neighbors claimed at 10 p.m. they heard them fighting and yelling. We don't know if that's accurate. I've also had a neighbor say they heard. Now, this makes sense. This makes sense. I've had neighbors say they thought he was sleeping in the garage that night. And around 10 p.m., he was banging on the door to get in to use the bathroom. And Katie said, "You're not coming in for that. That's not why you want in." That's just speculation because I can't prove it. But some of the neighbors said that they heard him banging, trying to get in from out of the garage into the house. Okay. That could be a reason we added the bang, the thud. Then it went from, I heard noises. Can you describe those noises? It's a thud. Whenever you see a body fall on the ground and you've got the closed captions on, they describe that body as thud hitting the ground. I think what that she could be covering for the noise that the neighbors would have heard, him trying to get into the home from being in the garage that she never searched. She says, I searched in the house, around the house, under the house. And I know she searched under the house with a flashlight with the neighbor. How thorough, I don't know. I searched under his bed, the side of the bed, the bathroom. She added the bathroom. After Nancy Grace asked her about the bathroom, she then added the bathroom into her search. Closets all around the house. And by the way, she says in Chronicles of Olivia, I just watched it again, this all happened within 1 minute. So at 6:01, she's calling Chris. Come on. Okay. She fails to mention, by the way, that after she goes to bed at her alleged midnight, so she calls Chris after the bang, not before, they weren't on for 3 hours, nearly 2, and the bang was before 10. So she calls CP after the bang, if she did, or allegedly he was right there. 12 p.m., KP goes to bed. KP goes to bed, turns off the lights, goes back to her bedroom, and captured on the footage is a silhouette standing in the window. A silhouette of a person. The dogs aren't barking. Katie's not awake. She claims she went to sleep. I went to bed at midnight and I went to sleep. Doubling down again. But yet we see her bedroom light on at 3:06 in the morning. Funny how she had her bedroom light on at 3:06 in the morning, the same time the county commissioners said the car was arriving on the corner. Isn't that ironic? So she searches that house, under, in, around, the whole place. And by the way, I did it in 1 minute. She's talking about everywhere she went, back to the kitchen. Maybe he was cooking food. Well, she would have seen him going from her bedroom to his room because you passed by the kitchen. So if he was cooking food, she would have seen that. But indeed, she went and checked that kitchen. Under the bed, in the closets were added too. Okay. Bathroom was added. Then I jumped in my car. She takes you from the house into the car. She's afraid to mention the garage, in my opinion. She is afraid to mention that garage. She didn't look under her car to make sure her missing child wasn't under there. She didn't look in her car to see if he had gone in there and slept. Because remember, Melissa said maybe he jumped in a car to sleep and someone went to work and he got out once they got there and now he's lost. Oh my gosh, these people. Okay. Who is the silhouette in the window? Why wouldn't you be freaking out? Because what happened is they captured the silhouette from the footage in the window. Katie told her friend Lori that morning they captured a silhouette in the window. Lori told one of my sources who shared with me, okay, that they captured a silhouette in the window that night. So you tell me, if your child goes missing and you hear that there was a silhouette of a person standing in your window, why would you never tell the public that? Help me. Someone was in my house. They captured him in the window. And now my son's gone. I'm terrified. He took my son. And it was just minutes after KP went to bed. Didn't KP hear the person? Funny how the dogs didn't bark. Must have known the person. Huh, CP, in my opinion. They do not have basements. They have crawl spaces underneath Mr. Cashman and attics. The attic is in the hallway of that particular home. And it's not in the garage because I checked that too. Right. So don't you find that odd? So then let's keep going. People start looking at her. She never tells the local news a person was in her home standing in the window and it was captured. But she'll tell her best friend they captured a silhouette in the window. I've heard that too, Becky, that one of the interviews was fake. I heard that too, but I don't have proof of it. Yeah. So and why has law enforcement not mentioned that, by the way? Law enforcement has never come out and said there is an individual captured on footage standing in the window. Why didn't they show us the individual? The FBI can clear that up. Why didn't they want us to help them identify the person? Why do you think? Because they knew who the person was. Allegedly, in my opinion. That should have been on the Amber Alert too, right? That should have been on the Amber Alert too. Hi, Ann. So it's just that part right there screams KP knows something to me. Allegedly, in my opinion, because she's not screaming about the person standing in the window caught on camera. How did that person get in? When Katie went to bed, the doors were locked. When Katie woke up and Sebastian was gone, the doors were locked. How did this person get in? Well, moments moments after Katie walked down the hall to her bedroom. Why is law enforcement not asking us to identify a strange person standing in the window that was caught on footage? They don't need identification, just like they don't need our help with the sedan, just like they don't need our help with the two people who carried him out. They know who they are. And I'm telling you, with what I've learned about CPS, trafficking kids in Tennessee, they just got that whole report coming out by the state commission. Sebastian had 5 CPS reports to his house and a Bower Sox who worked at CPS high up. Seth was never notified. If this was arranged, that he is one of the, and by the way, the ones with disabilities, they treat the worst. If this was arranged somehow, I'm not accusing anyone, but if this was arranged somehow that he would be trafficked through DCS, since they couldn't get him in a school, they didn't want to pay for a school, all hell's going to break loose when that gets exposed. Because remember, Sean Taylor says, let me read it to you exactly. Sean Taylor, that sheriff who is exposing the corruption and the money laundering and the mortgage fraud and the child trafficking, they shot up his house, hit him head on. He wrote, oops, sorry, y'all. He wrote this video because he did a video about Sumner County corruption and corruption in Tennessee, and the state commission's now showing all the abuse going on through DCS, kids being trafficked, everything. Sleeping in offices unsupervised. They don't even get them homes. Probably because they're ready to traffic them. Might as well just keep them right there, right? Allegedly. So Sean Taylor writes, this is a video about corruption in Tennessee at a local level. If you follow the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case, a missing autistic teen out of Sumner County and a possible sighting in Millersville, this ties into this. Corruption. This ties into this. They have not yet escalated the case to the FBI for foul play. MCE says, Jay, I've questioned CPS in Sebastian and Summers' case because they both had a recent investigator show up. That was another thing, MCE. I was going to say, Summer Wells also had DCS showing up. Both kids are gone. Was Sunday fun day because they planned? Someone said, well, we can traffic them through DCS. Move them around. They'll never know. We'll call them missing. Allegedly, I'm just speculating. We have to speculate since they don't speak about him. Did he get, is that what happened? Where in the timeline is Katie meeting her friend? Up here. I'm guessing. We have to guess. The reason I'm guessing, Dan, is she picks up her niece. Melissa says they all go shopping at the department stores. And they're shopping together. And then Katie and Sebastian go home to unpack snacks. I'm assuming the nieces stayed, because 2 aunts were there. So I'm assuming the nieces stayed with the aunts. You know, once they were shopping, they all got back together, right? Met to go shopping, and then the niece stayed with her mommy. So I'm putting it, Dan, right between picking up the niece and shopping. Now, we don't know when any of this started, remember. She doesn't give times. She didn't even offer the time of 6 a.m. Reporters had to keep asking her, pulling it out of her. And then we have Mama Socks. So there's a silhouette in the window. The dogs don't bark. Katie doesn't hear anything. That's why I think Nancy Grace kept asking her, and you didn't hear anything, right? Where were the dogs? Because Nancy's trying to figure out, where did this guy in the silhouette get up? Where did he come in? Because Nancy probably saw all the footage and everything. Well, maybe not, because they were probably not putting it forth, right? She asked her a lot of questions. We need to go back through that Nancy Grace interview, because she doesn't ask questions that aren't pertinent, where she's not trying to pry something open that she already knows some of. So KP goes to bed. finds out there's a silhouette in her home. Her child's missing, and she never, ever tells the public someone was in my home and took my kid. Because that's what she calls him, my kid. Remember, she says that on some of her interviews. And that's really weird. Every person in the world would be saying someone was in my home. But you wouldn't if you knew who that someone was and that someone was looking out the window to see something. Maybe that was a signal. So then before Sebastian is reported missing, and I have it in red because we haven't verified it, but people saw it, at Warsham's between 5:10 and 5:52, Mama's dirty socks, the grandma, was seen parked along the road. And when you go through the high school, you enter the high school and you just loop through, like pretending someone called and told me to go home. So rather than search, I just had to turn around. Makes sense why you were creating an alibi as to why she was over there by the storage unit in Warsham's, in my opinion, with Kathy. In my opinion, alleged. Kathy spotted. People even told PIs they spotted her. Told law enforcement everything. 5:10 to 5:52 a.m. Here's the interesting part. She lives in Gallatin, about 25 miles away, or 25 minutes away. So why in the world, on February 26th in the morning, would Dirty Socks show up in Hendersonville at the wee hours of the morning? So she had to leave about 4:30, 4:45. Park along the road and not even drive all the way to her son's home. What's she doing in Hendersonville? Clearly not to see her son, because remember, he's not there. So why is she in her son's neighborhood? Why did so many people see her there? Is that why Warsham's footage was not taken? Is that why Mr. Warsham saw nothing on his footage? Didn't see anything? No. They didn't get it, but he didn't say he looked. That's right. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't have checked your footage when a child's missing? Well, you don't want footage out there when you see Mama Socks. Dirty Socks on the road. That's my opinion. So even before Sebastian's reported missing, Mama Socks is spotted in the neighborhood. She claims she's not. She claims she wasn't there till 10:30. But her word against about 10 other people. She doesn't even go to her son's home. She's right at that place where if you loop the high school, like you drive in and drive right out, there you are. You can fib and say you were searching. And then eventually when you get caught and you weren't searching, you're seen with windows up and all that. And there's so many cameras at the high school and you're not searching there. Then you say, oh, well, when law enforcement called, I was just getting there. So I just turned around and went back home. Well, yeah, that's now you've given an alibi for the loop for exiting near the storage unit in Warsham's near Mama Dirty Socks. What happened there? Something was important there. Either cars were traded, something was exchanged. Katie had someone in her house with her. That's what I just said, MCE. I was just thinking that. That's a theory too. They swap vehicles because they're so close looking. So she took Mama Socks' home, something like that. Or maybe she had to, the silhouette person got out of Katie's car and got into Mama Socks'. So they wouldn't be at Katie's when 911 wasn't called. When the recorder, or when the sheriff's office, someone was called. Could have been a person too. It could have been they swapped vehicles for some reason. It could have been the silhouette person who went home with Katie, maybe hiding in the back seat. I don't know. Had to get a ride home. Nicey says, going to the cemetery, school searching, yet flashlights there in the wee hours before. Yep. Flashlights in the woods after. Yeah. Do you remember Nancy Grace asked Katie if her car ever moved once she got home? And I think in that FBI update, Brandon Carter says Katie and Sebastian got home and they never went anywhere after. But do you have proof? Have we seen proof of her searching? I haven't seen the proof of her driving around the cemetery because I heard that was before she went missing. Children belong to God says Sebastian was sleeping in the garage. The car was in the garage. And let's say him and CP, or even him and his mother, got into the car, got into it. There could have been blood on the car. And that's the reason for the switch. Very logical. Yes. One theory is the car was turned on. He was locked in the garage. Maybe that's why you heard him banging. The neighbors heard him banging. And that way there wouldn't have been blood if they wanted to do away with him. If it asphyxiate him, in other words. Lock the car, turn the car on, lock it. Everyone goes in the house. He stays in the garage. Everything, he can't get out for some reason. I don't know how he wouldn't have been able to open that door, though. The man door or the garage door, right? Hit the button and get out. So I don't know. But that was one speculation too. Oh, I do know. One person who's a psychologist said they thought that they maybe duct taped him to a mattress, started the car. I don't know. We don't know. So then he's gone. She goes in allegedly at 6 a.m., not offering that time, by the way. Journalists had to pull it from her. She says she searches the house in 1 minute. Don't forget, she skips the garage. So in 1 minute, she searched that entire home, inside, outside, around, everything. And she called her husband, they called the sheriff. I put 601. Chris said then he told her to look on the side, here, there. And so within 3 minutes, they called the sheriff, 603. But then there's 30 minutes that go by before dispatch announces a child is missing. What were they doing in that 30 minutes? She didn't call it 603, in my opinion. And if she did, they were on a three-way in a long conversation with someone who was going, you know what I mean. Then Seth arrives. I know I'm jumping her little searching stuff. Then Seth arrives after 8-ish, and Lori's there already. Lori from Illinois. And then allegedly CP arrives at 1:30. I don't believe it. Okay, here's why. Look at the last 2 years, and this isn't everything. I did this just right before our show, and we can add to it too. Okay. I'm giving Brandon the benefit of the doubt by taking everything he put in the FBI update and saying it's true. Then we can prove they were only at the strike and spare for 10 minutes. We see there was a haircut. So only the things in white. It's either relying on Brandon Carter for truth, or we've seen footage, or we've verified with Dara's post and me talking to Brandon Carter about it. Okay. Neighbors saying they pulled in and shut the garage so you couldn't see who was in the vehicles. We heard dispatch. Seth told us when he arrived. Lori was there. Everything else that's come out of KP's mouth, you tell me. It's all rotten messes. Hi, Jenny. Rotten messes, in my opinions. Why would she talk about spaghetti pancakes, but not tell us she stopped at Dara's for a few minutes with the kids? Because there was a reason people can't know that. Why can't we talk about Lori's visit? My friend was in town for the weekend. He and her son E and Sebastian are really good friends, so I don't understand why he would run away when his friend's in town. Because he didn't. None of it makes sense. Brandon Carter gives us Sebastian's bedtime between 9 and 10, but the loud bang coming from his room where he allegedly was in was before 10. Hey, Nick. Welcome in. Right? Which means it was, and then he says it was nearly a 2-hour call, meaning she called after 10 because he says she went to bed at midnight, meaning she heard a loud bang before 10 and after 10 called CP, according to Brandon Carter. No one mentions the silhouette in the window. No one mentions a visit to Dara's. No one mentions green hoodie. No one mentions Lori. No one mentions the haircut. No one mentions shopping at a department store, by the way, unless he means BJ's. Right? Hi, Nick. How are you doing? I hope you're having a nice night. So if it's in white, it's because Brandon Carter said it or we've seen it or verified it. Everything else is out of Katie's mouth is in red. We do not have a timeline for this case. Without a timeline, we have no idea what happened. We have no idea when things became not normal. We have no idea without a timeline. Now, why would law enforcement not be telling us? They don't have to tell us anything, but I find it very significant that the movements of a mother who was last seen with her child have to be hidden and concealed, not transparent. She also pled the fifth, by the way. And once they looked at her phone and she pled the fifth, she changed her phone number. She's moved out of the home where she allegedly had a child run away. Where would he come back to? DCS was at that house 5 times. They trafficked children in Tennessee. No one told Seth about it. Why? Do you know when you have so many CPS reports, they're supposed to give that to the DA? Was the DA given the all those CPS reports? It's supposed to go to the DA. By the way, law enforcement and CPS work together. CPS covers the civil end of it and abuse. Law enforcement covers the crimes committed. Why did no one do anything before he disappeared? They were looking for a school for him. They chose one that abuses and punishes and humiliates children. It's all over the news. So when Seth found one that wasn't like that, that would actually benefit a program to help him with the ABA therapy, some of the traumas, some of the things he wanted to work on and, build confidence. They didn't want those schools. They were too expensive. Well, how much was the one they recommended? Free because it's abuse? Well, then within 6 weeks, he's gone. It's not a far stretch to think, because I saw those emails, by the way. Tony and Seth, they sent them to me. And, not a far stretch. When someone wants to put him in a residential school, they were having problems with him. They said, we can't take this anymore. They didn't want to pay for the program Seth said would be suitable, that he might agree with. And poof, he's gone. Not a far stretch to think they did something to remove him from the home because they were already verbalizing that they wanted him out. So this is your timeline. It's not true. There's anything in red came out of her mouth. I don't believe it. White is what we verified and Brandon Carter's words in the FBI update. This is why we don't find people. This is why we haven't found Sebastian. But I ask you, we know law enforcement doesn't have to tell us anything. But I ask you, why would they have to hide the movements of a mother hours surrounding her son's disappearance? Why couldn't they say? Why couldn't she say, I picked up my niece and we went over to my friend Dara's house for a few minutes and then we went over and met everyone at BJ's? Why not? It's weird, right? My friend Lori was in town for the weekend. And why would he run away if his friend E was there? Why would he run away? He loves E. my friend Lori was in town, so she and I jumped in the car. None of it. This is why we haven't found Sebastian. And if this were left up to Sumner County, as their county commissioners tell us, if you want it solved and Sebastian to come home, you have to take it out of the county. The county commissioners said that, but yet they didn't stand up for Sebastian and take it out of the county and challenge Craddock. No, they told the people to do it. And then they voted in, like a week or two later, no term limits and no people can speak at their meetings because they don't have time. They silenced the people again, and they set it up so they could sit their little tushies in those seats as long as the people voted them in. Because you know what? When you have people who look the other way, you do vote no term limits because you want them to stay. Generational corruption, DCS trafficking children, law enforcement flipping off fathers, a sheriff who says, I am not going to do any more interviews, and even if there's a huge break in this case, you're not even going to know about it. That's what one group is quoted as saying he said to them on August 8th. Friends, I want to thank you all so much for being here, truly. I'm not Anne. I didn't get a chance to go through all my emails because I was one live, ate dinner, and then came back on a live, and I needed to get this prepared. I will check my emails in the morning. I promise you all. I'm too tired to go through them tonight. But I want to thank all of you for being here with me tonight. It's good to see you twice today. Honestly, I appreciate you all. I appreciate your research. I do appreciate how much you do for Sebastian and that you're still here saying his name, sharing his flyers. No matter what state you're in, please share his flyers. Nick says these cases are all on the voters out there. Yep. They couldn't care less. They didn't even have opponents. Yes. You remember, you all. You remember, what was I telling them? Do not let him run alone. Do not let him run opposed. You need to run someone against him. I told them I used to train candidates to campaign. I would help them do that. I would help them. They had to get a candidate. And then what's their answers? Well, I wrote in Snoopy. I don't care if you wrote in Snoopy. Yeah, it's funny. Did it make a difference? No, it's not an opponent. So I agree with you, Nick. 100. You know there's corruption. Half of you can't even get into the sheriff's office. If you want to talk about Sebastian, you're not let in. One of the locals told me that she wasn't let in because she tried to get in to talk about Sebastian. Kept out of the office she pays for. So you all, it's a tragedy. Yes, they need to do changes, but you're right. The people need to put some opponents up there or start running themselves against these crooked people, allegedly, in my opinion. You all have a wonderful night. Love you back. Thank you so much, Joanne. I will see all of you tomorrow. Thank you, Anne. Love you back. Nick, thanks for being here. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Prayers up for Nancy Guthrie to be found, her family to be okay, Sebastian Rogers to be located, and all of his family and Seth, and for Summer Wells to be found. Prayers up for her. She has no voice except for YouTube. That's her voice. So keep talking about her, and Michael Vaughn, that this monster will go to trial, be convicted, and the other 3 will be as well charged and convicted. Have a wonderful night. And please remember, if you see something, say something. If you know something, say something. And I don't care if it's your neighbor and it wasn't a conversation for you to share. If you heard it, tell it if it could save a life. Have a great night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Blessings.